The following is a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Patrickson will take it from the opposite side, in swinging service, whipped in, more air underneath this one towards the back post. Uragide scores! Osaze Uragide in the big moment gives Dallas the lead. As things stand, they're in the playoffs, and what a moment.
After what will go down as FC Dallas' most dramatic win in recent memory, 3-2 against San Jose at PayPal Park, the Burn sits in 5th place in the Western Conference with one game to go for the World Cup break. Standing in the way of Dallas and 2 months off is Colorado Rapids, where Dallas hasn't beaten in Commerce City since 2014. The Rapids are coming off a midweek win in the U.S. Open Cup against San Jose, but a loss in MLS play last Saturday against Real Salt Lake. Dallas looks to reverse another road curse as they take on the Rapids tonight. Along the lines of the FC Dallas Radio Network, it is the FC Dallas pregame show presented by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. On tonight's presentation, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. Our commentary team for the evening, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis, will join me to break down tonight's lineup and tactics. But first, as we do for all road games, we welcome in Steve Davis for a look at tonight's major headlines. And Steve, it's the last time we're going to meet for just a little while on this particular show because we're going to have just under 2 months off before the next FC Dallas game.
Well, it won't really be 2 months off, will it? It'll be 2 months of fabulous soccer, but I'll miss my MLS in the meantime.
I sure will too. At the very least, MLS Next Pro will still play, so go on North Texas SC. But this is kind of a weird situation for MLS. It has been a long while since we've seen a midseason break this long for the league. It's going to be literally for Dallas. Their next game will be, I believe, on the 24th of July, so it'll be a day over. And this is just kind of strange. A lot of us are not used to this sort of scenario happening.
Well, you say it's a long time. It's actually unprecedented. There's never been anything like this. Back in the 2006 World Cup, Major League Soccer got a lot of criticism because they just blew right through it. Sort of imagine playing a good part of your schedule without your star players. Imagine Dallas playing, what 20% of its games without the Moose, something like that. Then in 14 and 10, they took a 2-week break, sort of try to clear some space for the bulk of the group stage games. But 2 weeks, this is a 6-week break. Mm-hmm. So there's never been anything like it. I think it's the right call, of course, because the league has been criticized before, and because you don't want to play a bulk of meaningful games without the star players. It is going to have some downstream impact, I think, that's going to be interesting because the coaches are going to have to figure out how to balance, getting the players back into sharpness and in shape. It's basically a second off season, so I think who can figure that out is going to be telling. And it's also interesting that it sort of resets your body a little bit. We know toward the end of the season every year your sprains and strains start to really build up, and the attrition sort of sets in on the roster. And this time you've got this big 6-week break for most everybody, except for the guys going to the World Cup, to heal up a little bit. So it does sort of create something that we haven't seen before.
It's almost a mini preview of when the calendar flip comes, because this will be right around the time.
I thought the same thing.
When we normally have, so it gives us a little time to get adjusted to that. And luckily for Dallas, 3 players are going to be involved in World Cup action. We know Pedro Musa, he's on the World Cup squad. He is not in tonight. We'll talk about that in just a minute. He'll play for Croatia. Dietzen is going to play for Haiti. And then Herman Johansson will join Sweden, but he's the 27th man. He's the first one in or the last one out, depending on how you look at it, for Sweden. Although I would assume, based on the way things are going with Sweden's injury situation, it's probably only a matter of time before he gets added in. But, Steve, you've covered this team pretty much since day one. The significance of having 3 players on the FC Dallas squad, the active FC Dallas squad, going to the World Cup, I feel like people aren't really appreciating how important that is.
Sam, I think when you're a kid, if you play soccer, the dream machine inside you sort of goes to 2 places, right? It goes to playing for your favorite club and playing in the World Cup. I mean, the World Cup is such an enormous part of the sport. It's the pinnacle of pinnacles in terms of the places of arrival in professional soccer. So these are very special opportunities, and then to connect it to the FC Dallas club, I think that makes it special. It makes it significant, just as it's going to be, I think, a meaningful moment of pride when Mauricio Pochettino officially announces his squad. I think we know a little bit more about it now, and we hear the names like Ricardo Pepi, Weston McKennie, Chris Richards, and maybe even Tanner Tessman, although right now it's not looking great for the fourth member of the FC Dallas old school, the academy guys.
It's going to be a lot of DTID at the World Cup this year, which is always a good thing. And, something else we haven't seen, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up because I've been thinking about it pretty much all week. Nothing quite like we've ever seen here at FC Dallas is the Sam Sarver experience. Old Stone Cold Sam Sarver has been quite literally everywhere this week, ESPN, all across the MLS properties. I mean, I can't remember an FC Dallas player with a couple of weeks like this. You've been here a lot longer than I have. Can you remember anything quite like this, just from a phenomenon standpoint? For
Yeah,
FC
okay.
Dallas?
This is the second time you've referenced how long I've been around here.
That's
I'm going to try not to have my feelings hurt.
You have experience. I'm trying to. You have
sure,
credibility.
buddy. No, you're right. I keep thinking of Linsanity, if you remember that. If you remember that phenomenon. It's a good question, though. And there certainly have been some beloved figures around me. Bobby Ryan, was a beloved figure. Jason Kreis had his day of high shine. But to your question, has someone created this kind of buzzy phenomenon? And the answer is no. I think maybe Breck Shea comes the closest.
That's who most people have been comparing it to.
Yeah, but I think you'd have to have about 2 or 3 Breck Shea's worth of a claim and phenomena to come close to what Sam Sarver has managed over the last few days. So the answer to your question is no. I've never really seen anything like this. He's enjoying his moment, and good for him. And to score late goals in 3 out of 4 games, he deserves every bit of it.
And congratulations to him. He's the newest Adidas soccer athlete as well. He announced later this week. So he's definitely making the most of this moment, and we hope he has another one tonight. I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later. But the 11 players charged with trying to bring home road win number 4 tonight for Dallas is Jonathan Sirois in net, Herman Johansson, Sebastian Biaga, Shaq Moore, Ron Benjamin across the back line, Joaquin Valiente, Ramiro Caike, Santi Moreno, alongside Patrickson and Logan Farrington. And I guess we probably got to start at the top and work our way back, Steve, because as we mentioned, Petar Musa, he is going to the World Cup. That's great. The downside is he's already in Croatia. That means the big dog, Logan Farrington, has to come in tonight. And if you have to fill in for Petar Musa, you never want to, but, man, Logan Farrington is a very nice consolation prize.
Yeah, look, there's no denying it. You miss something when a player as special as Musa isn't available. The good news, as you say, is that the drop in impact isn't as severe, the drop between player number 1 and 2 at the position. When you have a Logan Farrington, and his improvement this year has been impressive to say the least. He has 5 goals, 4 assists. That's exactly what he had last year. The difference is he had that in a full season of 32 matches last year is what he played. This year he's posted those numbers in 13 matches. So you see that his impact over the seasons has definitely improved. And yeah, you're right. It's tough to miss Musa. It's great to have Logan Farrington as a backup.
Man, Logan and Musa both scoring 10-plus goals feels very on the table. It's already happened for Musa. That was light work for the Moose, but Logan only needs 5 more to hit that, and I'm not betting against him at this rate.
Right.
Meanwhile, Jonathan Sirois back in net. He had 6 saves, including the PK last week in the win against the Earthquakes, and this feels very Eric Quill-coded. He doesn't take guys out of the lineup that have earned their way in until they earn their way out, and while we may have questions about the general goalkeeping situation, I don't think Sirois did anything last week to earn his way out of the lineup in Eric Quill's
No,
eyes.
you're right. He didn't. I do still think it's a pivotal game for him.
Oh, yeah.
He had some good moments, and he had some shaky ones last week. So after tonight, we'll get 90 more minutes of information to chew on, and we'll have a lot of time to chew on it over the long break.
Meanwhile, we never fully know until we see the guys hit the turf, but based on the lineup that's been given and what we can glean from training, Ron Benjamin left back. I don't know what to do with this, but I will say I didn't know what to do with him when he played left midfield, and he did that pretty well. We know Nolan Norris is dealing with a little bit of a knock. That's why he's available tonight, but he's not starting. It maybe kind of speaks to the fact that Dallas's depth on that side of the pitch is really not in the best place, especially with Bernard Kamungo still on the injured list. But, hey, I guess we're going to go with it tonight.
Well, look, with Ron Benjamin at left back, we know he's got speed. We know he's got the engine. That means he can get up and down and attack on the left side. We know he's got some attacking chops with him. We know he's a good one-on-one defender. I think the issue here is that as a left back, you've got to make, number one, you've got to make some different decisions on when to go tackle, when to just hold the line and stay back a little bit more and be a little bit more conservative. Also, when the game gets dynamic and fast back there and the rotations start happening, that's where I think he could get nipped a little bit for experience. So we'll have to see, but that's what they have because, as you said, Nolan Norris is they're trying to be cautious with Nolan. Don't think it's a big deal, but they don't want to push it at all. So I think on the one-on-one stuff, on the attacking stuff, he'll be okay. When the game does get dynamic and behind him, also with the ball, the way Colorado presses, which I know we'll talk about, that's where he could be in a little bit of trouble too. So I think his choices need to be precise.
And we'll talk about another reason why this could be a little bit more dangerous in our third segment because of another absence in the lineup tonight. But talking about Colorado, they come in 11th place in the West. They're on 16 points. The good news is for them, they won in the Open Cup on Wednesday, so they'll go to the semifinals. The bad news is their MLS streak as of lately has cooled off considerably. They don't even have their manager tonight. Matt Wells is serving a suspension for yellow card accumulation, so I think this has to be the first time Dallas has been involved in a game where back-to-back managers were suspended for cards. But it's been a very up-and-down season for the Matt Wells group where they've been very physical, sometimes almost too much. They've tried to bail out of the back. When it works, it's great. When it doesn't work, Katie bar the door. It has not been good.
Yeah, so I think what's happened here, you said it's been up and down, but it's been up and then sort of down because, as you said, they're pretty high energy under their new manager, Matt Wells. And it worked to a point because they're a very hard team to play against. Then again, for a while, what they were doing was sort of beating the worst team, the sort of the bottom teams, and then when they got up against the harder teams, harder part of the schedule, that's when this physical style, this hard charging style, started nipping them a little bit with injuries, a little bit of tiredness. At this point, they played 3 more matches than FC Dallas, and all of those coming in the last 5 or 6 weeks,
give or take.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, since the high point was mid-April, they just whooped up on Houston 6-2, and since then, 1 win, 5 losses, 1 draw. So burying those teams earlier with that physicality, the teams just weren't matching that physicality, but that does come at a price, and I think now they're sort of paying the price a little bit for that.
Yeah, they definitely are, and they could very well pay the price tonight, as we'll talk about our third segment. But that is Steve Davis. You'll hear him on the call tonight alongside Ryan Figert, and he'll be back in our third segment to break this down a little bit further. Steve, we appreciate you as always.
Appreciate you, Sam.
When we return here on the FC Dallas pregame show, we'll have the sounds of tonight's match. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
Winner, winner, Chick-fil-A dinner. All season long, when FC Dallas wins at home, fans win free Chick-fil-A. Be sure your Chick-fil-A app is up to date and location services are turned on when you attend matches at Toyota Stadium. After the team wins, before you leave your seats, open the app to redeem the Chick-fil-A offer. Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. In our next segment, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis will join me to break down the lineups and tactics for tonight's Western Conference showdown. But first, let me tell you about the FC Dallas Radio Network podcast feed, available everywhere you get free podcasts. It's anchored by our postgame show, highlight stats analysis in 30 minutes or less, give or take, unless Sam Sarver does something really cool, in which case we're probably going to add on another 5 minutes just to talk about that. It goes live after the final whistle, and it's available the next day for your commute on Sunday, Monday, whenever you want to get great analysis of FC Dallas games. Meanwhile, we're in Season 2 of the FC Dallas Agenda, your official FC Dallas podcast. You get long-form analysis, thoughts, discussions, interviews, everything you could possibly want about your favorite MLS team. Just this week, we had on Todd Yeagley, the head coach of Indiana men's soccer, and he was joined by none other than Sam Sarver. The pair had a great discussion about Sam's college days, his celebration against the Quakes, and many other things. It was a wonderful, wonderful discussion between the two. Those episodes come out every Wednesday, or I should say most every Wednesday on weeks we don't have full match weeks, such as 3 matches in 8 days. Also this year, we've debuted The Build-Up, our FC Dallas preview show, which comes out around 24 hours before the next match. In this week's case, we dropped our episode on Friday, right around 5 o'clock, to preview today's match against Colorado. You would have heard about Peter Musa leaving for the World Cup and what that meant for the starting two, what we thought was our biggest key matchup for tonight against Colorado, and much, much more as we preview the Colorado game. It's the perfect preview of FC Dallas before we get to the pregame show, all in about a 20-minute or so package. How do you get all this great content? Well, you go to your podcast provider of choice, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get free podcasts. You type in FC Dallas Radio Network and then hit subscribe so you don't miss any of our great free content. Now let's get to the sounds of this week's match. And this week, Now let's get to the sounds of this week's match, which this week feature FC Dallas manager Eric Quill.
It's been a great week. I think the guys understand the importance of this game. They've been locked in and training hard. So I have, I think based on what I saw this week, I like what I saw. No, we don't. I mean, our preparation's our preparation, at home or away. But it's, we know that there's a home crowd advantage when we go on the road and how much we have to stay locked in and start games really well. That's the key in this one as well, is that first half hour. We got to be really locked in and making sure we're not giving the crowd something to get into, and playing together, collective, and executing the game plan. Well, when they're against the ball, we got to make sure we're playing quick. They're like you said, they press, and so making good decisions, quick decisions, switching the point fast, making sure we're not getting caught taking extra touches when we don't need to. And then, with the ball, we've got to be good in our structures and making sure our triggers to press are right, and knowing how to trap them and making sure in those duel moments that we're not letting them out of soft duels. And so that's the goal, and now it's execution time.
When we return on the FC Dallas pregame show, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis join me to help break down tonight's lineup and tactics. This is FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
Welcome back to the FC Dallas pregame show presented by Toyota here on the FC Dallas Radio Network. We've got just about 20 minutes until kickoff from Dick's Sporting Goods Park, so let's go ahead and get you tonight's starting lineups. And this evening, those are brought to you by AdvoCare. We'll start first with the home side, Colorado Rapids, and interim manager Alistair Harris. Of course, as we noted in the first segment, no Matt Wells on the touchline tonight. He has yellow card accumulation for the Rapids, so he is suspended for tonight's matchup. It's Nicholas Hansen, the Dane, in net tonight for Colorado. Former FC Dallas man Reggie Cannon, former Arsenal man Rob Holding, alongside Lucas Harrington and Jackson Travis on the back line. You've got Josh Atencio, the former Seattle Sounder, playing alongside homegrown Wayne Frederick. George Manungu, the former Seattle Sounder man as well, alongside Paxton Aronson, yes, the younger brother of Brendan, alongside Darren Yappy, and Rafa Navajo up top tonight for the Rapids. Now let's go ahead and get you the starting lineups for FC Dallas and second-year manager Eric Quill.
Jonathan Sirois, goalkeeper, Montreal, Canada.
Herman Johansson, wingback, Sweden.
Sebastian Ibiaga, center back, Duke University.
Shaq Moore, right back, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Ron Binyamin, midfielder, Israel.
Joaquín Valiente, mediocampista, Uruguay.
Ramiro Benetti, midfielder, Brazil.
Kaique, midfield, Brasil.
Santiago Moreno, mediocampista, Colombia.
Patrickson, mediocampista, Ecuador. Logan Farrington, striker, Racine, Wisconsin.
And the subs tonight for Dallas, Lalo Sabubakar, Christian Kappas, Ricky Lewis, Nick Simmons, Josh Torquato, Caleb Swan, Sam Sarver, Michael Collodi, and Nolan Norris. And now let's bring in the voices of tonight's contest. It's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis. And Ryan, this is the last one for a while. A big old 6-week, 2-month, however you want to look at it, break. Dallas won't play again until late July when they stay on the road for the remainder of this big old road trip. And I'm curious, obviously, winning tonight would be big. It would pull Dallas ahead of Seattle, at least temporarily. The Sounders play LAFC tomorrow night. It would put Dallas in fourth. But do you think it's more important for just the literal standings implications, or more for the vibes that Dallas wins tonight?
Can I say both?
No.
Is that sitting on the fence a little bit?
We know they're both important, but I think
they're both very important, and I'll put some numbers behind it at least to make my case, because from a standing standpoint, they're currently on pace for 53 points coming into tonight. That'd be a 9-point improvement over last season, but still would only place you around 5th or 6th in the standings based on where everything ended up last year. If they win tonight, they'd be right on pace for 4th place, and we know 4th place is a home playoff game. They most likely end this first segment of the season in 4th place, and that's got to be goal number one. Obviously, you want to push on for more and challenge at the top of the table, but for the expectation set for this team, I think 4th place is the minimum, because they want to host that home game and give themselves the best chance when it comes to playoff time. So we saw how important that was in the series against Vancouver, having to go there in the first game and let them set the tone in the series. So everything this season for me builds to potentially getting in that top 4, and a win tonight puts them on pace to do so.
And Steve, not only can Dallas do something they haven't done since 2014, which is win in Colorado, they can do something we've discovered in pregame they haven't done since 2005, which is win 3 straight road games. They haven't done that now in 2 decades. And Quill has talked about ever since he got here about, hey, I want to be the builder. I want to reverse these curses. I want to create a new path for Dallas. Well, beating San Jose was a nice little start last week, but here's Colorado, and here's a 20-year record they can break if they can get the win tonight.
Yeah, for sure, and I think they've got a pretty good chance in that Colorado is coming off a U.S. Open Cup, a big triumph in the U.S. Open Cup midweek. I think Dallas has done pretty well this year against teams without a winning record. Actually, they're 4-0-3, so they haven't lost to a team that sitting below 500, which Colorado was doing. So don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but also, as you said, the road form has picked up exactly where it did last year. They haven't lost any of that road mojo, so I like their chances tonight.
And, Ryan, if they're going to do it, they'll have to do it without Petar Musa. He is currently in Croatia getting ready for the World Cup, which, again, fantastic, well-earned. I would argue no one on this squad deserves it more than Petar Musa because he's been on fire. But that brings in Logan Farrington tonight. He'll draw in alongside what we believe to be Patrickson as his kind of support in this 4-4-2. And while everyone says, well, we'd rather have the Moose, and you would, this specific matchup of Colorado, who plays kind of fast and loose with the physical side, who does give up a lot of fouls, that could play right into Logan's wheelhouse.
For sure. I think it's a credit to Logan. It's a credit to the way this squad has been built that really you've got probably your best player at both ends of the field out tonight, and you feel like you've still got a chance on the road. That is absolutely inconceivable maybe 18 months ago before Eric Quill was in charge, and it felt like a road game was maybe you get a point, and that was with your best 11 available. Now, even down those guys, I feel like there's a good opportunity to go and get a point, if not 3, on the road tonight, and Logan's going to be key, right? He's getting a start, and when he started this year, he's averaging 1 goal contribution for every start, 5 goals, 3 assists in 8 games from the start. A lot of those alongside Musa, but a couple of those in place of Musa. He's shown he can shoulder that goal-scoring load. I'm thinking about the Houston game when he scored 2 quick first-half goals. When Musa had to start on the bench, they're going to need a similar performance from him tonight.
Meanwhile, on the other side of that, Steve, while Logan being in tonight is a big help for Dallas, it does change what Eric Quill can do off the bench, because he's been kind of relying on that Logan, Sam Sarver package to come in and really either win the game or save the game for them. Tonight he does have Super Sam on the bench, but his striker options are just a little bit different now that Logan has to start.
Yeah, they are, but I don't know. I mean, Musa, I think not being present tonight, it does change things, but over the last couple of years, I think it would have been a bigger problem. But now you got Santa Marino creating threat. Patrickson just had a big day, which is why he's back in the starting lineup. Valiente is available tonight, and he's been creating some chances off the press, serving up some good assists, hitting good set-piece service. And then Logan and Kaike keep finding different ways to grow their game. And so, yes, not having Musa around, it changes things off the bench. It changes things in general. But this team has scored 11 goals over the last 4 games. And it's not all better Musa. So I don't think this is the crisis that would have been at different times over the last couple of years.
No, I strongly agree with that. And, one of the things, and you just mentioned it, Ryan, it's not just Musa out tonight. Osaze Arigide dealing with a lower body issue. He's not on the bench or starting tonight. That means you've got Shaq Moore and Sebastian Biaga taking those midfield center spots, those center back spots, if you will. And, again, I think even 18 months ago you'd go, I don't know how good I feel about a right back playing center back and Sebastian Biaga, who's 33 years old at the time, being my starting center backs. Fast forward 18 months, this is a really good pairing for Dallas. They've both been really good this year.
Yeah, it is always the conundrum, right? Because I think we saw, with Nolan at times and with Shaq at times, how much better they look with Osaze in there alongside him. And now it's a moment where he's not in there. He's not going to be able to cover for you. And it's got to be about those two guys stepping up and taking control of the back line on their own. I think they're both very capable, but, maybe some of their weaknesses have always been covered up by Osaze being next to them. They've got to step their game up a level tonight against a forward in Navarro who's given Dallas so many problems over the years.
Actually, though, when you talk about Osaze being out and Musa being out, the one thing it does concern me tonight is that as I look up and down the lineup, depending on sort of how they set up things, I see about 4 players who aren't playing in their very best position, who are having to move around just a little bit. And the thing is, if you have one guy who's playing a little bit out of position, that's okay usually because there's enough structure and communication around him. But when you have 3, or in this case, I think it's about 4 guys that are sort of playing a little bit out of position, that does concern me a little bit tonight.
And specifically in this case, Steve, the thing that concerns me greatly, we talked about a little bit in our first segment, Ron Benjamin is coming in tonight at what we presume to be a left back position. And I'm not really worried about the right side of that Dallas defense because you've got Herman Johansson and Sebastian Biaga who are probably going to line up on that side, veterans who know the game. But this might be an even bigger task for Shaq Moore because there's probably going to be times, maybe even through no fault of his own, just not knowing the position, that Ron's going to have some trouble on defense. It's going to be very critical for Shaq to show that veteran skill and ability to try and help the young man over on left back side.
And it's a great point because I think Shaq Moore has been so impressive in passing every test so far. Ask him to play left-sided wing back, which is weird. He looks okay. Ask him to play, left back. Ask him to play center back, left center back, right center back in a 3, or center back in a 2. He's passed every test. Now he's got to find yet another level. He's not only got to do his stuff, but now he's got to communicate with Ron Benjamin over there, and that's sort of what I'm talking about. It just a little bit concerning as the game gets fluid and dynamic back there around them. Is the communication good enough at this level? Are the rotations fast enough at this level? Because as you know, if you're a half a second late on a marking assignment, that might cost you a goal.
And it's interesting to me, too, because he is a right-footed player, and all 4 of the back 4 tonight are right-footed. Does he come inside a little bit more? Nolan tends to go down the line as a left-footed player or, drive passes forward off his left foot. Does he take the opportunity? Maybe Colorado isn't prepared for a right-footed left back to be able to come into the midfield a little bit and help out. Maybe just a way that this tactical tweak could actually play into Dallas's hands.
Yeah, especially since Dallas is so experienced at that three-back line. You've got Shaq, you've got Sebastian Biaga, and Herman Johansson would probably tuck in and play that other center-back spot if they went to three. All the versatility that Dallas has built over the last about 18 months could really be helpful tonight. And, Ryan, we saw last week the debut of Jonathan Sirois, 6 saves in the win, including the penalty kick save against Bo LaRue. This week he's back in because he didn't really lose the job in any way last week, despite the fact he could have probably looked better. As he gets start 2 tonight, how do you think he can improve his game?
I think show a little bit more confidence and also work on the communication with the back line. Now, that's not easy because we just talked about the chopping and changing along the back line. 2 new players in there from the start. But it's got to start from him and commanding the box, being aggressive coming off the line, but also communicating when he's coming off the line. I think that's what got him in trouble with the first goal last week as he came out for the cross. Maybe didn't need to, but certainly if he was going to come out for the cross, needed to communicate that with Osaze, who headed it away, and then he's out of his goal for the shot. So just a little bit better in terms of communicating and leading that back line.
Communication, absolutely key. Also, though, playing out of the back because Colorado is going to press hard. He's got to make good decisions when to play short and when to just go over the press, play second or third level.
I think, spoiler alert, a lot of times it's just going to be going over
Sure,
the press, going second or third level.
Which is
and
fine
that's
with me.
Totally fine.
Doesn't bother me a bit. And as we look a little bit at Colorado here, obviously they're probably feeling good because they beat San Jose midweek in the U.S. Open Cup quarterfinals. They're on to the semis that'll play at a later date. But, Steve, for the last 5 times Colorado's played in MLS, they've lost, and they've only scored 3 goals in their last 5 MLS games, period. In those last 4 losses, they've only scored 2 total goals. This is not the team, if you're Colorado, you want to come up against an FC Dallas when you're not scoring goals.
Yeah, I think what's happened there, we were just talking about it amongst ourselves in the break. I think Matt Wells being a first time as a head coach, first time on a staff outside of England, I think he's learning what so many managers have learned through the years when they're new to Major League Soccer, which is that the rosters aren't necessarily big enough and strong enough to run players into the ground. I think there's a cost to the travel and the time zone changes across a big continent. The fixture congestion really sort of piles up on you in a different way, and I think he's learning about that. That said, they're still a hard team to play against right now. They just don't have a ton of firepower up front. The goal scoring has gone a little quiet on them, and that's what's really hurting them right now.
Yeah, as I put it eloquently on our build-up podcast yesterday, they seem like they're ground into the ground at this point, and they need this break coming up.
Yeah.
One player that has been succeeding in the goal-scoring department is Rafa Navajo. He is the leading scorer on this team with 8 goals and 2 assists. He's also the first in XG, so he should have 1 more goal than he actually does. But the big difference for Navajo tonight, Ryan, no Osaze or Gede to stop him, which means it's probably going to be a group effort among that back 4 and maybe even guys like Kaique and Ramiro to try and slow him down.
Yeah, I think this is one where you would have really liked to have Osaze just to go one-on-one with a big striker. And Navarro is that. He can be a target man. He can be a runner in behind. He has a complete game. As a number 9, it's going to be a tough ask for the 2 center backs tonight. Whoever draws that matchup, whoever he posts up against more often, he's also good in the press. You can't get caught on the ball in deep areas in your own half because he's able to take advantage. He takes a good penalty kick as well. So he's got a little bit of everything. He's sort of a Pedromusa light, I think, in terms of the ability to play make, but also be in the box and finish. So definitely keep an eye on him tonight.
Yeah, I do feel like he's one of these guys that if he was playing anywhere else besides Colorado, which they tend not to get a lot of attention, I think you'd hear a lot more about him. I like him.
Before we get to our keys, Steve, you've got a kind of a unique situation for Colorado. That's Rob Holding and Lucas Harrington are the center back pairing. They're number 1 and 2 on Colorado in the goals added stat, which is kind of a new fancy stat that kind of works a little bit like WAR or XG. But they have been 2 of the more valuable players for Colorado because they keep building out of the back so well. So for Dallas tonight, I don't want to steal one of your keys necessarily, but giving those guys a little bit of pressure and making sure that they're uncomfortable probably is going to be job 1 for that front line.
Yeah, well, you are about to steal one of my keys, man. Actually, I'll give you a little bit more on the keys. But, I think Lucas Harrington's been pretty good for them this year, but he will cough up the ball on you a little bit.
Well, he's only just a teenager, so
Yep.
he's got some experience with Holding next to him, the former Premier League player. But speaking of those keys to the match, those are coming up. They're presented by Toyota. And for those, I go right back to Steve Davis.
Thank you, Sam. Number one is just understanding the moment. We mentioned this, that there's never been a break like this in Major League Soccer. So these 90 minutes will significantly affect how this club, these players, the whole technical staff, how everyone will feel about things as we all sit around for a few weeks enjoying World Cup soccer. So it's an important match and needs to be treated as such. Number two is just matching Colorado's physicality. The hard tackles are coming. Matt Wells is trying to build a team that matches a technical approach with a real relentless physical approach. It's been a mixed bag so far. But what hasn't been a mixed bag is the commitment to tackling and pressing. FC Dallas players have to be strong on the ball and then be prepared for some combat. And then third, here's your you just hit a little bit of a spoiler there. It's pressing smart, Sam. Colorado will cough up the ball a little bit, but that doesn't mean you got to throw the hell-bent press at them all the time. They do have some speed up front, and they can get it behind you if you're not careful. So everyone has to know the press triggers. They have to be selective and then organized and coordinated when they do go. And that, for the last time in 6 weeks, Sam, those are your keys presented by Toyota.
Thank you, Steve Davis. It is the last time until late July we'll have this little pregame show as we finish up here. We will take a break, and when we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the first half of action at Dick's Sporting Goods Park in Colorado. It's FC Dallas. It's Colorado Rapids here on some MLS After Dark. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's Children's Health. Incredible together.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
Well, FC Dallas is in Commerce City, Colorado tonight for Game 2 of this long odyssey of road matches either side of the World Cup break. Having already ended 2 winless streaks that spanned over a decade each this season, there's one final giant to slay, and that is the Colorado Rapids at Dick's Sporting Goods Park tonight, a venue where they've only won 3 times historically and haven't done so since 2014. Missing key contributors at both ends, Eric Quillsider looking to dig deep a mile high and in this first part of the 2026 season in the win column tonight. Ryan Figert in the booth alongside Steve Davis for the final time until July 22nd. And Steve, the big headline news, Petr Musa joining up with Croatia ahead of the World Cup. He's not in the lineup tonight. Obviously, best wishes to him and his country this summer. But it's a big opportunity, not just for Logan Farrington, who's in his place, but for Santi Moreno, Joaquin Valiente, the whole supporting cast around him.
Yeah, not a perfect scenario, not to have your the best striker in Major League Soccer with you. But if you're going to miss him, I can't think of a better reason than he's off with his home country to play in a big old World Cup. So not perfect, but as you said, Santi Moreno, I think, is finding different ways to impact the game. I think he's playing his way into shape, and we know that Logan Farrington has already matched his goal total from last year, just 13 games into the season.
And we're a little bit down the depth chart in a couple of positions now. Nolan Norris had been dealing with a knock this week. They're sort of managing that ahead of the break. And that means Ron Benjamin comes into the back line. You're out Saze Arguide tonight as well, so Sebastian Abiaga is partnered by Shaq Moore. It's an opportunity for some guys to step up, but the depth is really going to have to, get involved tonight and show what they're made of ahead of the break.
Yeah, and you ask yourself, what does stepping up mean for a guy like Ron Benjamin? And for me, it means something Oscar Pereira used to say as far as the outside back, responsibilities first, possibilities second. That means take care of your defensive responsibilities first and then look for your spots to attack.
Well, Patrickson Delgado is going to play a key role in the attack tonight, coming off a really strong performance in the win at San Jose, a goal inside 60 seconds last week. And Eric Quill, we asked him on Friday training, and I said, how do you keep Patrickson in this moment where he's playing well? He said, play him, play him, play him, play him. Show him the trust, and he's shown him the trust tonight with another start. Yeah, the problem is that he's been up and down when you play him, and what Patrickson Delgado has become is sort of what you like to call a moments player. He has some great moments, but then he disappears for stretches and just doesn't find enough ways to impact the game. So I think tonight, though, the way Colorado plays with that physical nature, the hard tackling, I think Patrickson is really good in the duels, and I think he'll help him tonight. The official in the middle tonight, speaking of heading to the World Cup, Ismail Elfath heading to his second straight FIFA World Cup. He's one of 3 from Pro that will be representing the Federation on the world's biggest stage. Congratulations to him. He's assisted by Corey Parker and Kyle Atkins tonight with Armando Villarreal in the VAR booth. Wow. Dallas in the light kits with red accents will move from right to left in this first half. Colorado in all black with burgundy and blue accents will move from left to right on their home turf.
Dallas sitting in 5th. That ain't too bad, but, if you go a little higher in the standings, why won't you?
Chance to climb the table, and in this first part of the season in the win column, we are underway for the final time before the World Cup kicks off here in North America. It's sent long to that far side in the Colorado half, where Dallas has an early throw-in for Herman Johansson, who will be headed to Sweden once this game wraps up in Commerce City. Join up with the Swedish squad.
Interesting. He'll be going all the way to Sweden just to come back to Frisco to train here.
Johansson now back to the halfway line, and Sebastian Abiaga will move it through into the center circle for Shaq Moore. Those two playing center back alongside each other in a back 4 tonight. Benjamin back into the Dallas half with Sebastian Abiaga now. Out to Johansson, plays it down the line and over the head of Kaique. It's going to bounce all the way through for Nico Hansen, who's in place of Zach Steffen, who's currently out injured, but a lot of Colorado fans, riders alike, saying Hansen might have won the job with his stellar play of late since coming into the side. Colorado in possession for the first time along the near side with Reggie Cannon, the former Dallas man. Turns and plays it back again for Rob Holding. Cannon started this season on the injury list and has worked his way back into contention. Receives it here under pressure from Moreno. Delgado got a piece of the pass, but Colorado works it away from pressure. Navarro back down to this near side for Frederick, and he's clattered into as he releases it. Referee plays advantage. It's down the line towards the corner flag, and Manungu, his cross is met by Johansson inside the area and sent clear to this near side. Delgado knocks it off Manungu. It cannons into the middle. Now it's Moreno taken out by Reggie Cannon. Referee's whistle goes. Cannon perplexed by the decision. Moreno down holding his right foot.
Nice job by Herman Johansson there, protecting the back post a minute ago, getting his body position in the right place, and then good solid clearance. Patrickson getting a talking to from Elfath.
It was a classic Patrickson tackle. A little bit on the edge, more so than you'd like, especially in the opening minutes of a game. He had already got on the scoreboard this time last week. Dallas grabbed a late goal from Sam Sarver to win in San Jose. It was these Colorado Rapids who then beat San Jose in the Open Cup on Wednesday. And they advanced to the semifinal. Can you believe it, Steve? For the first time, having competed since 1996, it's their first time since, the first time since the 90s that they made the Open Cup semifinal. Sirois sending it long from the restart. Farrington challenging for it. Holding wins the header. Ramiro picks up the second ball, lifts it out to Moreno on this near side. Moreno can't keep hold of it, and Holding will play out to the other side for Harrington. Harrington turns, plays it back to his goalkeeper, who's under pressure now from Valiente. Atencio receives it, it's still inside his own area. Out to Reggie Cannon. Atencio, ball through the middle of the field into the feet of Navarro. First time pass is off the mark. As he was looking for Wayne Frederick and instead found Eric Quill in his technical area.
I mean, Colorado is committed to playing out of the back. You know, that when you have that kind of commitment, it's somewhere between worthy that they're doing that and foolhardy.
Shaq Moore under pressure from Manungo in the Dallas half. Turns and plays Ibiaga. No pressure on him. Turns and plays back to Shaq Moore. Out to this near side for Benjamin. Playing in a new position tonight. Left-footed ball forward down the line. Finds the feet of Farrington. Farrington switches it out to Johansson on the opposite side. Valiente now on the dribble with Johansson going beyond him. Back for Kaique. And Ramiro combining in the middle third here. Back to Ibiaga near the halfway line. Benjamin now going to use that right foot to put it over the top towards the run of Valiente into the area. Not a bad attempt there, and it was the Colorado goalkeeper Hansen to come out and claim.
It almost looked like Valiente lost the ball, lost sight of the ball as it was in the air, because I thought he was right in line to maybe take a first-time volley on that one.
Thank you. Colorado in possession with Holding on the edge of his own 18-yard box. Again, back to Hansen. A lot of touches early for the goalkeeper.
So Dallas pressing with 3 and then 3 in behind, and Ramiro doing a lot of directing, and Colorado hasn't quite sorted it out yet.
Holding surveying his options. Still 20 yards from his own goal. Rolls it into Frederick in the middle. Back to Holding, now back to Hansen. And here comes Delgado on the pressure. Out to the far side for Harrington, who split wide. Ball down the line, and that one just about found Darren Yappy, and now Colorado works it out of the pressure. And back out to this near side for Reggie Cannon to drive forward into the Dallas half. First time ball forward is picked off by Ron Benjamin, sent out for a throw. Intended for Manungu. Not an easy assignment for Benjamin, his first time playing as a true fullback in this system. Manungu along with Dante Seeley. New additions to this Colorado Rapids team in the wide areas. A lot of pace, dribbling ability, and maybe a gamble on Colorado's part that one, if not both of them, will add some more end product to their game. Manungu, they paid $2 million in allocation money for him. He only has 2 goals in his MLS career. Ramiro on the ball in the middle for Dallas. Back to Ibiaga. Ahead for Valiente, who's in a central position. Lifted forward towards Patrickson, but couldn't find him. It turns over to Manungu. Now Aronson. Aronson ball in behind, and Sirois quick off his line. Comes and covers it up.
Nice job there by Jonathan Sirois, starting about 14 yards off his line, so he was in a good position to come collect that one on the fly.
Kaique on the turn, puts the ball in behind for the run of Logan Farrington. Hansen off his line, comes and sweeps it out to the far side. I think he meant to clear it with a lot more behind it than he got. But ultimately, he got there ahead of Farrington. That was what was important.
Nice ball played into Farrington. Hansen was just like we talked about Sirois a minute ago. He was just well positioned, aggressive off his line.
Holding back out to Cannon once again on this near side. Into the middle. And Atencio, another former Seattle Sounder in this Colorado lineup. Harrington out to Yappy on the far side. First time ball looking for Aronson. Just about found him. Here's Yappy bringing it forward on the dribble. 3 Dallas players around him. Still able to combine with the 1-2 with Navarro. Now in a central position, trying to put it in behind for Frederick. It's cut out by Shaq Moore. And Dallas send it clear for the moment. It's out for a throw. Benjamin will take it. Last touch was off of Manungu.
In case anybody's wondering, as suspected, it is a 4-man back line for Dallas. When they drop back into the mid-block or low block, it's a line of 4 in front of them. Valiente right and Santi Marino left on the outside. Kaique and Ramiro in the middle.
Kaique receiving it from Johansson. Back to Ibiaga, who can't find a teammate. As that Colorado press, which is intense, amongst the top in the league in terms of pressing numbers, forces a turnover here. They're back to the halfway line.
Yeah, you had some interesting numbers on Colorado as far as amount of ground cover coming into the match.
Yeah, top 5 in distance covered and intensive runs and sprints Dallas is top 10 in all 3 metrics as well. So 2 teams that do the work. 2 coaches that demand the work to keep your place in the starting 11. Here's the ball down the line on the near side from Manungu. Faces up Benjamin, who gets a touch on the ball, putting it out for a throw. Taken quickly back to Reggie Cannon. Not quite the fast start Dallas has been accustomed to of late. Didn't score within 60 seconds like last time, but in fact, they've been very good in those in this opening 15 minutes. 6 goals in total this season.
And when they didn't score, in one of those, Kappas banged one off the post quite early.
Still only halfway through that first 15 minutes. But a much more measured approach by the looks of things for Quill and the coaching staff tonight, obviously taking into consideration the elevation and also the guys not available tonight, Musa and Urikide.
Yeah, the guys sort of playing a little bit out of position. I think you want to let them settle into the game a little bit.
Hansen on the ball for Colorado, walking it outside the 18-yard box over to Harrington. And over again to his center back partner, Rob Holding, shaded towards this near side. In the midfield for Frederick. And back for Hansen, now out to Harrington again. The young Australian tries an entry ball. It's picked off by Logan Farrington. Now Dallas looking to build quickly along the right side. Out to Valiente. Corner of the 18-yard box, finds Farrington. Top of the box, goes down. And we're headed to the spot. As Logan Farrington, under contact there, is tripped up. And he wins a penalty here inside 10 minutes.
You were saying about quick starts just a second ago. So this comes off, as we said, Colorado will do this. A little turnover in the middle of the field. I think Valiente does a good job of dragging a couple of defenders out wide with him and then slipping a little ball into Logan Farrington right outside the penalty area. He takes one touch, and then he's inside the penalty area, and it's Paxton Aronson that takes a little swipe at the ball, and I think he gets enough of Logan Farrington there that there's not going to be much doubt on this one.
Yeah, he definitely hit the standing foot of Farrington. And Ismail Elfath, who's headed to the World Cup himself, points to the spot. And Dallas will have a chance from 12 yards to give themselves the lead. It's Logan Farrington himself to step up and take it, looking for his 6th goal. And what would be a new career high. He's taken penalties in preseason games for Dallas, but this is his first attempt in Major League Soccer.
Which means they don't have the book on him.
Hansen stands 12 yards away. Deep breaths for Logan Farrington. Stares down the Colorado goalkeeper. And Farrington scores with pace and precision into the bottom corner. And a shush to the Colorado crowd as Dallas get on the board first.
Hits it with the inside of his right foot. Just about catches that side net on the left side. Hansen goes that way, but it's a well enough taken penalty kick that it's 1-0 in the 12th minute.
Well, when Farrington's in for Petter Musa, he just seems to pick up where the Moose leaves off. Quickly onto the score sheet, converting the penalty that he won. And you couldn't ask for a better start here. Dallas again scoring inside 15 minutes to give themselves a chance to play from in front.
I'd say side net. What do you think? Corner, that back corner?
I'd say unsavable for just about anybody, Nico Hansen or otherwise. Farrington now has a new career high in goals in just 14 games played, and he's got a goal contribution for every start he's made this season. And for a guy who you say is your number 2 option, just because Petter Musa is so good, that is pretty good. Colorado looking to respond. Frederick puts it in behind. There's a lot of space for Manungu now breaking into the 18 along the right side. Manungu low cross into the middle, and the instant response. Paxton Aronson with the mistake to give away the penalty, and within a minute makes amends with the goal set up by Manungu.
And that's sort of the danger when you've got Ron Benjamin out there, not putting it all on him, but they did get in behind him and just reading the game, reading those situations when he's not a natural left back, and that's where the trouble comes from. And then once he's able to get his head up, get the cross in from the right side, Paxton Aronson making a good, well-timed run into the middle. Benjamin just got caught out a little too far there. Ibiaga giving chase, trying to get back into it. Marino giving chase, but Manungu is just too fast. He's too far ahead of everybody, and Paxton Aronson arrives right at the 12. Slips it in with his right foot. Sarwa has no chance.
Yeah, you certainly look at the way they were able to get him behind along the near side, but also Paxton Aronson is a midfielder, and from kickoff, he would have had to run past the entire Dallas midfield.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's just going to be one person putting their hand up in the wake of that goal. But an early lead quickly squandered. We mentioned that Dick's Sporting Goods Park is a place where Dallas has had precious little in terms of results and maybe even less in terlas of good fortune.
They did win a game there on the way to their 16 Open Cup trophy, but that's getting to be several years ago now.
Even that's over a decade at this point.
Yeah.
99th match all time, actually, between these two teams in all competitions, so we'll get the 100th later on this year.
And speaking of 100th, Reggie Cannon, it's his 100th MLS start tonight. Appearance or start? One or the other. Start. So congratulations to Reggie. A lot of those coming at Toyota Stadium.
Back underway. Nico Hansen under pressure inside his own area. Goes out to Harrington, who lifts it down the line off his right foot. Johansson gets ahead to it, but it's still headed towards the halfway line. Then Ibiaga's header is won over Navarro, who's penalized there with a foul.
Yeah, Navarro just undercut Ibiaga as he goes up high for the header there. I think he had his eyes on the ball, and he and Ibiaga exchange a quick hand slap. No hard feelings there.
Shackmore all the way back to Sirois. On the edge of the D, lifts it out to the far side, looking for the run of Johansson. Johansson wins the header to keep it in play, but Valiente lost his footing, and possession turns over to Colorado.
It was a nice header to get it back to Valiente, and it was about to work out, and Valiente, as you said, just slipped on the turf.
Harrington out to Reggie Cannon on this near side. Right under the halfway line, Manungu back for Atencio. Wayne Frederick in midfield, wearing the number 99, pretty easy to spot. Unconventional number choice. Out to Harrington again, still in the Colorado half. Atencio time to turn, lifts it over the top, out to this near side once again for Manungu. Manungu receives it near the corner flag. Now Benjamin closing him down. Georgie Manungu. Benjamin biting in with the tackle, forcing him back. And now Reggie Cannon, first time cross, up into the air, didn't even reach the 6-yard box. Shackmore winning the header. Benjamin puts it down the line. Delgado off the outside of the right foot finds Farrington on the halfway line. But it's Harrington who comes away with possession. So good work there from the young center back to dispossess Logan on halfway. Atencio again with time. This time lifts it out to the far side, looking for the run of Yapi. Allowed to bounce. Yapi keeps it in play. And Johansson gets tight and wins the ball back and then wins a foul.
Good one-on-one defending there from Johansson on Yapi. Benjamin, I think, has had the better on the one-on-one matchups over on the other side with Manungu.
It's interesting because with Benjamin, it's similar to what we saw with Bernard Kamungo when he was sort of learning that position. He felt like the one-on-one defending when he was well-positioned and squared up with his man, he does well, and that's why I think they have faith that he can play that position. But sometimes it's the team concept defending that catches him out, as it did on the goal. Here's a giveaway for Dallas in the middle third, but Kaike quickly back onto it, taking it away from Yapi.
Yeah, it was Kaike that gave the ball away initially, so good job on his part to get it back.
And then he gives it right back.
Yep.
As he was looking for Valiente. Possession turns over to the Rapids again. The team that is in the top 3 in Major League Soccer for average possession have seen a ton of the ball in these opening 17.5 minutes. Ibiaga on it now. Back to Sirois. Shackmore on the turn, finds Ramiro in the middle. Keeps it moving over to Ibiaga. First touch takes him wide. He turns and plays it back to his goalkeeper under no pressure inside the area. Sirois ball forward, finds Kaike. Back to Ibiaga again. Interesting, Dallas playing with the ball in their own half, maybe even more than we expected they would under pressure from this Colorado team. But it's worked out here to find Moreno driving into the Colorado half, but then not on the same page as Benjamin. His pass runs out of play.
Yeah, I think that's two players who just haven't been together a lot, and certainly not in either of these positions. Moreno playing that left-sided midfield spot that we saw him in last week, but last week was the first time.
Well, Colorado turns and does the exact same thing to give Dallas possession from the throw. Taken by Ramiro, who gets it back now. Finds Patrickson in the middle. Benjamin, wide left, Ramiro. A lot of bodies along this near side, so Patrickson hits the switch through Ibiaga. Out to Johansson. Back to Ibiaga. And into the middle, Benjamin. Lifts it out to this near side, Ramiro. Fully stretched, trying to keep it in play, and just about does, but allowed Reggie Cannon to come in and win possession back. And in the aftermath, Benjamin commits the foul.
You know, Benjamin is by nature a central midfield player, and this is about the third time I've seen him sort of slip into the center. It's a tactical wrinkle that we've seen from some teams, outside backs sort of moving into the center in possession, but we haven't really seen it. I've never seen it from FC Dallas.
There's Wayne Frederick in the middle. Nice tackle there from Ramiro. Sliding tackle to take it away. And then he gets caught on the ball, and Benjamin had made a run, so he's out of position. Frederick in the middle. Slips it out to Manungu along this near side. Manungu lifts the cross in towards Frederick. Ibiaga wins the header. And it's headed out for a throw on this near side.
I understand the thinking behind having Benjamin slip into the middle in possession, but, you know, it seems like a lot to ask of a guy playing a different position and then sort of do it a different way and then get back when you lose possession. It's also going to catch Ramiro out there sometime one-on-one defending on the outside, and he's just not fast enough to do that.
Santi Moreno winning it back near the corner flag in his own half here. Now still fighting for the ball with Reggie Cannon. Flicks it up to himself and sends it sort of clear, but it's bouncing at the top of the box. Navarro nudges off Delgado. Top of the box shot. Navarro shot deflected and picked up by Sirois.
Well, it was a really nice little skill check over there in the corner by Santi Moreno to juggle the ball quickly and then try to clear it, but he just cleared it into a really bad spot.
Ibiaga out to Valiente, who's dropping deep here to receive it. Now hits the switching ball for Ron Benjamin to come forward from left back. Brings it into the Colorado half. Spots the run of Logan Farrington in behind Rob Holding. Farrington corner the 18 on the near side, cuts back. Holding gets a piece of the ball. Farrington gets his body back in the way and shields it out for a Dallas throw.
Really nice ball for Benjamin to put Farrington in along the left side. Holding does a good job of recovering his space.
Here's Ramiro, left center channel, gets it out to Benjamin. Forward from left back. Finds Santi Moreno in the pocket here. Chipped ball forward towards the top of the box. Breaks Conley for Delgado, who scores for a second straight game. Delgado on the score sheet. Although the celebrations are muted, I think the flag has gone up against the Ecuadorian here.
That was not a good defending moment there from Colorado as the ball from Santi Moreno just drops right in over Lucas Harrington. And looking at it on the replay, it's not going to be too much doubt about this one. Well,
it's Delgado onside,
yeah,
but
now that I look at it again,
is Valiente, who's there as well, is offside, and I think he sort of blocked off the defender from challenging for the ball.
Yeah, they're going to say he was active in the play, but you're right, Delgado was actually onside there.
Now going the other way, Yappi runs into Johansson, and Valiente comes away with possession, but up a blind alley, loses it quickly to Atencio. Manungu, step over, gets to the byline beyond Benjamin, low cross in, looking for Frederick, breaks at the top of the box, shot through traffic, and Sirois got enough of it, and then it's hooked clear by Shaq Moore.
A lot of Manungu definitely got the better of Benjamin in a one-on-one matchup along the outside.
Jackson Travis receives it in midfield here along the halfway line, gets it over to Harrington, brings it back into the Dallas half as we've played a quarter of this game. Both sides on the scoreboard. Farrington from the penalty spot quickly responded. Colorado quickly responded with Paxton Aronson. Rob Holding on the halfway line over to Harrington, who's a World Cup hopeful, as Australia are going to announce their squad in the coming days. There's a bending ball in from Yapi, easily headed away by Ibiaga, and helped along by Moreno towards Delgado, who loses out to Reggie Cannon. Possession back with Colorado, seeing a ton of the ball as we expected they might. Yapi looking for the run of Aronson. Ibiaga gets there first and sends it out for a throw.
I think Ibiaga might have thought Sarver was going to come for that one and then had to sort of kick it into the next gear just to get to the ball when Sarver didn't come for it.
It's interesting because we talk about Benjamin inverting from left back, and Jackson Travis is doing the same thing for Colorado on the other side, although he's done a little bit more, played certainly more left back in his career so far. Here's a ball in from the far side looking for Manungu, breaks from Manungu from the penalty spot. His shot over the bar. Be a goal kick.
There was some of that fluid marking we're talking about, or marking when the game gets fluid, because Benjamin, he checks his shoulder and he sees where Manungu is, but then he doesn't check it again, and Manungu has moved away from him, so he's able to pick up the ball at about 14 yards and fire a shot over goal, but Benjamin just wasn't quite quick enough in sort of remarking after the first check of the shoulder.
Dallas has to redo the goal kick because Navarro went early. They play it short to Ramiro, who's splitting the center backs here. Shackmore down the line for Benjamin. First time ball into Ramiro, played down the line, off the mark looking for Moreno, but Holding just sends it into touch for a Dallas throw. Or a goal kick, sorry, went all the way through. Only shot for Dallas in these opening 25 minutes was the penalty for Logan Farrington. Seen 4 efforts from Colorado.
Yeah, 25 minutes in, you'd say Colorado's been the better team, certainly played more than Dallas is in, but I don't think it's been overly dominant from the Rapids.
Eric Quill joining with the players on the field and wearing his nationality proudly on the vest tonight, the American flag. With plenty of the players sporting their country's flag in the center of the chest as well. MLS celebrates the players being sent off to the World Cup after tonight's game.
Right now, Ryan, Dallas has been able to effectively get into the attacking half. They just haven't really been able to get effectively with any consistency into the attacking third.
Valiente to Shackmore on the edge of the center circle in his own half. Turns and plays it back to Sirois as the ball was bouncing on him there. Sirois back out to Ibiaga. It's going to go long this time. Looking for the run of Farrington, who's in alone in behind. Tries to bring it down with an outstretched left foot. And we've seen him do it before, but he couldn't pull off the trick that time. And it bounced through for Nico Hansen.
Now the spirit of Dennis Burkamp left him that time when he needed it most. But as you said, we've seen it happen. And that time he did actually get a foot on the ball. It just didn't quite get the soft touch on it, and it rolled into Nico Hansen in goal.
And he's still sort of looking to the sky, frustrated with himself. It's not one that most players would expect to pull off, but with what he's been able to do this season so far, certainly holds himself to that standard.
But if you're FCD, you know, you've just seen the idea. Now you know how you can get over.
Benjamin called for a foul there. I think that was pretty harsh. I think he got his body in the way against Manungu, who's asking for a card. Certainly shouldn't be a card.
I would say that the ball wasn't really in playing distance as he made the contact, so maybe it should have been a foul, but I definitely agree with you. There's no card there. As Elfath in the middle also agrees with us.
Here's Atencio. Time on the ball in the middle of the field here in the Dallas half. Everybody standing 5 or so yards away. Plays it over to Aronson, now back for Holding. Holding whips it out to Manungu on this near side. Manungu able to get past Benjamin on the dribble towards the byline. Shackmore helping out that time, puts it out for a throw.
Yeah, a little concerning now because it looks like Manungu is starting to get the measure of Benjamin on that side. I mean, Nolan Norris is available if they want to use him later.
There's a whipped in ball towards Yapi at the back post. Full stretch. His shot ends up over the bar as they quickly got the cross away off the throw-in. And it was Reggie Cannon with some good service that time.
Yeah, again, it's the right side that's causing the problems over there. As you said, this time it's Reggie Cannon and not Manungu.
So what we were told with Nolan Norris is that he is available. He's on the bench tonight, but he's been dealing with an issue that they don't want to aggravate ahead of the break. Sort of if they can give him a little bit of an extended break, they'd like to do so. But this has been a real problem for them inside 30 minutes. You also have Josh Torquato, who made 3 starts last year as a left back. The 18-year-old is at least more accustomed to playing that position. Here's a nice header from Ramiro in the middle, and Santi Moreno brings it forward, left center channel, approaching the 18-yard box. 3 defenders around him. They get a piece of the ball, but it breaks kindly for Benjamin on this near side. Bending ball off the right foot, looking for Farrington at the back post, who made a good run, and the cross ends up over his head and out for a goal kick.
You know, the thing is, between Patrickson Delgado, who is, I guess he's an attacking central mid, Valiente, who's a central mid, and Santi Moreno, there should be a little bit more creativity on the field than we're seeing right now. I think these guys just not having played together a lot, I think that hurts Dallas.
Well, certainly in San Jose, this same combination of midfielders created plenty of chances.
Yeah, they had one X factor going there, though, didn't they?
Certainly had the gravity of Petter Musa up front to work off of.
One moose size X factor.
Nice combination, though, up the right side. Now Farrington on the turn, and maybe that's exactly what you're talking about there. Farrington unable to keep it moving there, loses out.
I think the second or third time we've seen that happen with Logan. I think he needs to find those creative players just a little bit quicker.
Reggie Cannon in possession for Colorado. Back to Rob Holding. Ball into the middle for Navarro. Turned over now. Farrington drives forward into the Colorado end. Waiting for the run from Valiente. Still on the ball, Logan Farrington along the far side. On the dribble, tries to split 2 defenders. And referee blows for a foul against Logan Farrington there as trying to make his way around Jackson Travis.
Yeah, I don't want to pick on the guy, but we just said it, and that time he takes 6, 7, 8 touches, you know, and it allows Colorado to get organized, and he allows himself to get double teamed, and Travis takes the ball away, and then Logan has to foul him. He just finds somebody else's feet a little bit quicker there, and I think he's in business.
Again, Pest in the press, nearly had a piece of that ball. As Colorado played along the back line here.
Well, that's the thing with the press, isn't it? They're gonna get past you most times, but you only have to knock the ball away a couple of times. That's how they've got the goal tonight. That's how the penalty kick started.
Harrington out to the far side. Aronson combining with Yappy. Colorado homegrown, cuts back. Plays the ball through the lines, looking for the run of Frederick, and Sirois way it off his line, gets a piece of the ball as he cleared out Frederick. Just on the edge of the 18-yard box. Ebiaga needs to sense the pressure from behind. Frederick was getting up and rejoining the play. He does, and plays it back to Sirois. And puts it out of play on the far side.
Tell you what, Ryan, we said that Sirois needed to command his area a little bit better tonight. I think he's done a pretty good job of it so far.
Certainly been quick out off the line. And had to get that one right as Frederick had gotten beyond the 2 Dallas center backs.
I mean, he's all the way out at the right corner of the penalty area there as he gets 2 hands on it, sort of pushes it away, and then he cleans out Frederick.
Yappy again receiving it up against Johansson, who's physical as always, pushing him back. Too physical, though, for the referee's liking. Yappy ends up on the ground, and looks like the Swede's going to get a talking to.
At that time, Herman Johansson, has he got a little blood on him maybe? He's being sent to the sideline. That time Johansson, I feel like, he had Yappy going the wrong way. I don't think he needed to keep grabbing onto him.
I think he's wearing his wedding ring by mistake. Yeah, he brings it across to the staff. Colorado trying to pull a fast one and go quickly while he was completing the side quest, but looks like he'll have to wait off the field.
That's unfortunate, but I think the official rule is if it's an equipment adjustment. You have to stay off the side and temporarily at least, maybe till the next stoppage of play.
He waits to be waved on. Colorado into the attacking third with Manungo on the near side. Manungo plays it back for Rob Holding. And here comes Johansson, making his way back to his position, but Yappi's received it along the far side. Bending ball off the right foot. Frederick gets a piece of it off the chest, and Ibiaga hooks it clear. Retrieved by Holding on the halfway line. Over half an hour played in Commerce City tonight. All the scoring in the opening 15 minutes as Dallas took the lead oh so briefly before Aronson equalized. Sirois, ball forward off the left foot, is intercepted. Now Aronson juggling it in the middle. Evades the tackle from Delgado. Still being forced back here and eventually turns and plays it back for Harrington. Travis, ball in behind, looking for the run. Navarro. Ibiaga in control of the situation there. Just nudges the forward away from the ball, and that runs out for a goal kick.
Right, I think what Dallas is really missing tonight, we know Logan Farrington can score the goals. I mean, he's got 6 now in the year. We're not even halfway through the season, so that total is fine in itself. But I think what they're missing is Peter Musa as the reference point up front. I think they're also missing his ability to hold the ball up a little bit. You know, Logan Farrington, when he's holding the ball, you know, he's making the choice right sometimes, whereas I think Peter Musa is able to do a little bit more with it when he does hold it up.
From the goal kick, it's out towards Johansson, eventually out for a Dallas throw, 10 yards into the Colorado half. Johansson's going to have to go track down a second ball here before he can take the throw. Still with World Cup dreams, Herman Johansson. He was named the first alternate for Sweden, and he will be heading back to his home country after this game to join up with the squad ahead of their send-off friendlies. Bad ball from Benjamin, and Kaike just about got it back to Shaq Moore. That wasn't a tactical issue. That was just a technical mistake. Dallas maintained possession. Ramiro looking for the 1-2 with Valiente. Aronson able to intercept, and now driving through the middle of the field. It's Wayne Frederick. Options either side. Out to Yappi. Corner of the 18. Heavy touch. Showed too much of it there to Ibiaga. And it's out for a corner.
So the tactical wrinkle here is that Herman Johansson in possession pushes up the right side. Benjamin moves into the center, and then Ramiro drops back in to sort of form the line of 3 in the back. It's something we haven't really seen from FC Dallas so far this year. And what it's doing, Ryan, it really is making them vulnerable in transition right now.
Aronson will take the corner from the far side. Aronson, big shoes to fill as they signed him to replace Georgi Mihailovic last year, who was very productive in his time in Colorado, now with Toronto FC. Aronson back in MLS after leaving Philadelphia for Eintracht Frankfurt a couple of years ago. He'll take this corner, left arm raised, cueing the runners. Whipped into the top of the 6-yard box. Sirois comes, doesn't get near it, but it bounces through. Back out to this near side. Oof. And it'll be a Colorado throw.
He got caught out in traffic that time.
I saw that last week as well. Not situations where he's at his best. Holding turns and plays it back into his own half all the way through to his goalkeeper. And Eric Quill waves the team forward. Under 10 to play before the halftime break. And worth noting, Colorado, some very stark stats in terms of when they lead at the break. They're 4-0-0. When they trail at the break, they're 0-0-5. And so if there's a goal in these final minutes before the break, it may well prove decisive in this game based on what we've seen so far this season. Kaike, ball through the lines to Valiente, back to Benjamin on the halfway line. Now Kaike again. Out to Valiente, off his left foot, chested down now by Moreno. Another 1-2, nice flick back towards Valiente, but it's turned over to Frederick. Sliding tackle from Kaike, quickly gets Moreno back on the ball. Tried the first time pass for Farrington, intercepted by Reggie Cannon.
I think Moreno's been good this year in spots, but that's about the 3rd or 4th time. Usually it's Peter Musa that he sees the pass, he sees the lane is there, and he just underhits the pass a little bit.
Cannon under pressure from Moreno, turns plays back for Hansen. 1 goal, 1 assist so far, and now 10 games, 6 from the start for Santi Moreno. A little bit under the strike rate he had in his time in Portland, where he racked up 20 goals and 40 assists.
What's encouraging is that he does see the pass. He's finding the spaces and receiving the ball. But as I said, we've seen 2 or 3 times, where he could have put Musa in, and tonight it's Farrington. Just gotta be a little bit more confident and hit those a little sharper.
Easily intercepted there, the pass from Cannon, but he's quickly back onto it, takes it away from Moreno. Now Frederick driving forward, ball in behind from Manungu. And both teams just making simple mistakes right now. It maybe looks like teams that have played a lot of games and are waiting for the break to come.
Well, I think it looks like Colorado's a team that's played a lot of games, waiting for the break. Dallas is a team that's, as we talked about, and we're a little concerned about. They've got 4 guys playing out of position. They're also introducing some new tactical wrinkles tonight. And I think what happens is you're sort of thinking your way through the game instead of just reacting on impulse.
Be a goal kick for Jonathan Sirois here in the 40th minute.
Instinct, not impulse.
Well, it's a trained.
You know what I meant.
It's a trained instinct, so that might make it an impulse. I'm not sure in terms of definitions, but familiarity and understanding of the tactical ideas means you can act more freely, and I think that's really the point you're making, is that they don't have that familiarity right now. Colorado throwing their own half on the far side.
I mean, at this point, they've got just a one shot on target. If they're gonna, it looks to me like they're okay with a slower-paced game, at least maybe until they can introduce Sam Sarver in the whatever minute.
Yeah, there's only one gear that Sam Sarver plays with. Here's a mistake for Shaq Moore at the back, presenting it to Navarro. Navarro's shot off target, led off there. Sirois closed him down. He went for the near post and ends up a couple yards wide.
Yeah, and Shaq immediately raises his hand. Look, that's just a right-footed guy playing on the left side, playing as a center back over there. It's tough on him because as he moves that ball over to his right foot, that's where he gets caught by Navajo, as Navajo is able to get on the inside of him. If you're on the other side, at least in that moment, you're defending from the inside, whereas when Navajo took the ball away, Shaq is on the outside of him, and it's just impossible to get back. And they just got lucky there that Navajo missed the shot.
We had 5 goals in 5 games against Dallas coming into tonight. Couldn't have really asked for a better opportunity outside of a penalty, I guess, to continue that scoring streak. It's throw-in for Dallas. Herman Johansson into the Colorado half to take it.
I mean, the good news for Dallas is as they're looking at 63% possession for the home team. Good news is that they haven't had a lot of those so far. Good, clear scoring chances. Mostly Dallas has kept Colorado out in front of them.
Ibiaga, 5 yards into the Dallas half, lifts it down the line, looking for Farrington, brings it down, corner of the 18, fires the shot past Hansen, but past the back post as well, and out for a goal kick.
He had Delgado at the back post, but Patrickson Delgado was just a little late in arriving. The angle wasn't the best, but I sort of don't mind.
Yeah, when he has a chance to look over, Delgado's nowhere near.
He's too far back, yeah.
So maybe shoot and hope for the rebound like we saw Petter Musa do for a goal a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, second shot of the game for Dallas, and I think it was, you're right, we saw in the replay, he glances over his shoulder, but Delgado is still 25 yards away from goal at that point, so he has to just find the ball, locate it, and do the best he can at shooting at the far post, which is the right choice there. Hope for the rebound.
Final 3 minutes plus whatever's added on here in this first half.
It's not the best half for FC Dallas, but if you go in 1-1, I don't think it's the worst half either.
Hansen into Atencio. Deep in the Colorado end, out to Reggie Cannon on this near side.
Dallas was able to bother Colorado with the press for 15 minutes or so. The problem is that Colorado has moved the game so far into Dallas's end, into the midfield and into Dallas's end, that Dallas really hasn't had a chance to press.
Kaike Ball over the top, looking for Johansson. Ball allowed to bounce. Johansson gets position on Travis. Corner of the 18-yard box, extended on the far side. Turns and plays it back to Valiente. Left for Kayike, back to the Uruguayan now. And now back to the halfway line in Ibiaga. Into the 44th minute. Moved along to Ramiro in the left back position on this near side. Plays Moreno, now back to Ramiro in the Dallas half. He's going to switch the play out to Ibiaga. Ibiaga going for the diagonal, looking for the run of Moreno. Brings it down with a nice first touch. Now he can run as defender, finds Benjamin, corner of the 18-yard box, turns, goes down, and we head to the spot again. And this time it was Manungu who tripped up Ron Benjamin. And Dallas will get a second chance from 12 yards to restore the lead.
Well, hey, let's give a lot of credit here to Ibiaga, who plays a great switching ball from the right side all the way over to the left corner. And it was a fabulous touch from Sante Marino to bring that one down. Now he finds himself in the corner. Benjamin is arriving. Benjamin catches the ball right about at the corner of the penalty area. And then, again, just like Logan Farrington, I mean, there's a little bit of contact there from Manungu. It's not a lot, but there's contact.
I think there's less contact than there was on the first one, but we didn't get a great angle. And instead of Farrington with a chance at his second, it's going to be Santi Moreno to step up and take. He took penalties for Portland. It looks like it'll be his first attempt from the spot in Dallas colors.
Interesting choice, as Farrington's already scored once from the 12-yard spot.
Here's the Dallas number 10, a chance to restore the lead. Moreno, stutter step, stares down the keeper and rolls it into the back of the net. Make it 2-1 Dallas as Santi Moreno strikes on the stroke of halftime.
I mean, Nico Hansen does a good job there of not falling for the stutter step, not falling for the delay. He just holds his spot, holds it, but then Santi Moreno has got to make a choice as he's on the ball, and he just decides to roll it nice and calmly over to the right side, puts it right inside the post.
And the dance party resumes at the corner flag, led by the Colombian. Penalty with not much power, but just about as much precision as you could ask for. Rolled in along the side netting.
You know what? If Manungu had, if Holding had, let me try one more time. If Hansen had saved that, they would have called it back because all that stutter and delay, he came off his line with both feet and then dove to his left. So they would have retaken the kick if he had saved that one. But either way, it's 2-1. And by the way, you know, Manungu, you have to say, I don't know how much contact there was, but when you immediately throw your hands up as if to say, I didn't do anything, that's the clear sign that you did something.
It's been a half of heroes and villains. You saw Paxton Aronson doing both within 2 minutes, conceding the penalty, then scoring a goal. Manungu, who set up the goal, now concedes the penalty as well. Benjamin, who's struggled defensively, winning a penalty at the other end. Both teams up and down in the Rocky Mountains tonight.
I mean, it's interesting. Dallas just really hasn't created much. They've only got one shot in the run of play, but they got 2 goals. 3 shots officially. 2 of them coming from the spot.
And if they can hold this lead to halftime, we mentioned Colorado have yet to even take a point from a losing position at the break. 5 attempts, all 5 ending up in losses. As the ball's out over the head of Yapi, it'll be a Dallas throw in their own half on the far side.
And I mentioned, you know, Dallas seems like they're pretty content to play the game at a slow tempo, and it's gonna, if they can get the last 61 seconds, get those finished off and go in with this 2-1 lead, it's going to serve them well.
That one taken on the far side, bouncing ball in the middle, eventually breaks for Rob Holding under pressure from Valiente. He sort of threw a hesitation, a shoulder fake, and now put Atencio in a bad spot. Nearly gave it away to Farrington, but it's Harrington who sends it clear. Navarro winning the header. Eric Quill beside himself, frustrated there that Dallas couldn't turn that turnover into more. Instead, maybe a chance for Colorado here before the break. Aronson, left center channel, into the attacking third on the far side. Wide for Yapi. Yapi gets to the byline beyond Valiente. Yapi cross in, headed away by Shaq Moore. And then Valiente sends it down the line and clear. Final seconds of the half ticking away. And Farrington needs to leave the ball alone here now. He goes down as Harrington was trying to take the ball away from him.
Well, there's going to be a yellow card here. I'm interested to see who's going to get it. Whether it's going to be Farrington for delay. Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be. And both of them are going to get it. So there you go.
Well, you can write Arrington and then just have the F and the H together. And they both head into the book in the same moment there as they've been tangled up a couple of times in this first half. We'll see what exactly happened. He did throw Logan to the ground. Logan was also being petulant by
they both deserved it.
Picking up the ball and running away. And now the final seconds of the half are ticking down. Manungu plays it down the line for Wayne Frederick. Shackmore in pursuit. Shackmore gets his body in the way. And he's going to shield it over the line for a goal kick. That situation really well handled.
There were two FC Dallas players on yellow card warning, and neither one of them are on the field tonight. It's or right now, Nolan Norris and Asazi Orgide. So Logan was not one of them on yellow card warning.
Well, that'll do it for us here in the first half. Dallas taking a lead courtesy of 2 trips to the penalty spot. Man, that feels good to say considering some of the luck we've had with penalties over the years. But Logan Farrington converting the first one, Santi Moreno the second, either side of a Paxton Aronson equalizer. So your score at halftime is FC Dallas 2, Colorado Rapids 1. And we'll take a brief moment, step aside, and we'll be back with halftime analysis here. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
When you don't compromise on the court, you shouldn't compromise off of it either. Lose the calories, not the taste. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. Copyright 2024.
After 45 plus at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, it's FC Dallas 2, Colorado Rapids 1 as FC Dallas looks to do something they haven't done since 2014. Hello everybody, it is the FC Dallas Halftime Show, brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by Advocare, building champions together. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's contest. It's Ryan Figert, it's Steve Davis. But let's get first to your halftime highlights. And they started in the 12th minute when Logan Farrington was tripped up in the penalty box. So that meant we went to the spot, and the big dog stepped up to the plate.
Hansen stands 12 yards away. Deep breaths for Logan Farrington. Stares down the Colorado goalkeeper. And Farrington scores with pace and precision into the bottom corner. And a shush to the Colorado crowd as Dallas get on the board first.
Farrington's 6th goal of the season made it 1-0 Dallas in the 12th minute. That lead wouldn't last, though. It was just a minute later, Paxton Aronson, who was the one that tripped up Logan to cause the penalty, goes all the way back to the other end of the pitch, slots one past Jonathan Sirois, and that made it 1-1 in the 13th minute. It would take until stoppage time, when this time it was another penalty, this one generated by Ron Benjamin, who was on the far corner of the penalty box. He was tripped up, and that sent Santi Moreno to the spot.
Here's the Dallas number 10, a chance to restore the lead. Moreno, stutter step, stares down the keeper and rolls it into the back of the net. Make it 2-1 Dallas as Santi Moreno
strikes on the stroke of halftime.
Moreno's second in Dallas colors this season made it 2-1 Dallas as the halftime whistle blew. Let's get you your halftime stats. Those are brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. Possession goes the way of the home side Colorado 62-38. 6 shots for the Rapids, 2 of those on target. Only 3 shots for Dallas, 2 of those on target. Of course, both of those being the successful penalties. You've had 1 save tonight for Jonathan Serwa. No saves so far for Nico Hansen. 6 fouls for the Rapids, 1 yellow card that went to Lucas Harrington. 5 fouls for Dallas, 1 yellow card that went to Logan Farrington. No, this is not some sort of Dr. Seuss word game. And now let's bring in our commentary team for this one. It's Ryan Figert. It's Steve Davis. And Ryan, I think you could argue this definitely looks like a pair of teams that probably really, really, really wants the World Cup break to get here. But despite the kind of sloppy play we've seen, Dallas goes into the break up 2-1.
Yeah, it's been probably the weirdest game of the season. I think maybe the San Diego game was weird as well, where San Diego had 2 penalties in the first half. And this time it's Dallas with 2 penalties in the first half. And they take that lead into the break despite not having a lot of really good approach play. I think they did a good job of getting into the Colorado half, but then it was a lot of turn and play back. And, without Osaze Arguide, who I think is probably your best passer out of the back, it's been difficult. That said, the moment that creates the second penalty is definitely a credit to Ebiaga, who hits a nice ball out of the back, but that was one moment. And I think as Steve is going to talk about, a couple of those attacking midfielders not at their best and not finding the ball really at all. So when you get into that, attacking half, it's about what you can do with it from there. And, maybe it won't be in the second half because they hold the lead, but at least when you're trying to push for a goal, getting those guys on the ball is going to be important because it seems like they haven't seen enough of it.
Yeah, Steve, as Ryan's noted a couple times, Colorado winless in 5 when they trail at the break. But that's no guarantee because Dallas is going to have to do a little bit more. And I think there's 2 specific players we were talking about as we transition to halftime. They're probably going to have to step up.
Well, let's not forget that Dallas hasn't always been the best this year at holding leads. So that's the yin to the yang there. Talking about the creative forces for FC Dallas. The good news for Patrickson Delgado is that he's 100% on his passes.
How many passes?
The bad news is that he's only made 4 of them, and he only has 7 touches. We in the break wondered, well, how is Patrickson Delgado? We've said this before that he, sometimes he has these games where he just doesn't find ways to get on the ball enough. 7 touches in a half. It's not like Dallas had the ball that much, but by comparison, Logan Farrington 16 touches, Valiente 17 touches, Santi Moreno 21 touches. 7 touches.
Basically one every 6 minutes.
It's just not finding ways to get yourself involved. He's got 2 defensive contributions. He's just got to do a little bit more there. We'll talk a little bit more about maybe what they can do about that. But Ryan, I'm just kind of curious, and you and Sam, to me, they're ahead 2-1, so clearly the manager knows more than I do. But it's just a little strange that with players sort of out of position, they've introduced a new tactical wrinkle tonight. Where Ron Benjamin, playing as left back, out of position, he inverts into the center. We've seen this in modern soccer. So it's Herman Johansson pushing up the right. It's Benjamin pushing into the center. Ramiro drops back to form the line of 3 back behind them, and they get nicked in transition a couple of times. So I think they've gotten a little lucky in that Colorado, a couple of their shots have, especially Navajo when he takes the ball off Shaq, they haven't been the best in terms of putting shots on target. I don't know. It looks a little like it's been overcomplicated to me, but then again, heck, they're up 2-1.
Yeah, I think the penalties definitely mask a little bit of a poor first half performance, to be honest, and that's okay. You don't have to be pretty to win on the road in particular. But I'm not too surprised that that's the way he's playing the position because in theory, it gets him into a more comfortable role.
That's a good point.
Where he's played a lot more of his career, which is in the middle of the field. The issue becomes that Dallas hasn't been clean with the ball. Yeah, I think if they were doing these exact same tactical concepts, but they had 10 to 15% more on their passing accuracy and they were moving the ball well, then these turnovers wouldn't be so problematic. But they're giving the ball away in difficult spots, and when you give the ball away and you're trying to deploy an inverted fullback, he's not out there to defend. And Manungu is really direct, really vertical. He's using his speed to get him behind quickly. That's what we saw in the Colorado goal, and it doesn't seem like they've done enough of this concept to understand what the rotations are when you're tracking back, and maybe that's something they can work on just with a quick couple of clips at the halftime break. But ultimately, they've got to be cleaner with the ball if they're going to try and do something that's a little bit more complex than the pretty standard 4-4-2 that we've seen them use recently.
And guys, if we're sitting here talking about that in the radio booth, you can bet your last soccer ball that that's what Colorado is in there talking about right now, how to take advantage of that and find Manungu even earlier in transition up the right side.
I would also say to that general wrinkle, I don't think Ramiro can be the guy that tracks back and becomes your third center back because, and this is nothing against him, he's just not in his skill set. The pace is not always there. We saw on one of the turnovers when Colorado was streaming numbers forward, Ramiro had to be the guy to come back and kind of compensate when Ron was out of position, and that's just not a speed battle that Dallas really wants in that case. Either that needs to be Ka'ike making that run and coming back because he's got the wheels, or someone like Christian Kappas who's just a little bit younger and a little bit faster. But I'm sure that's something that Eric Quill and company are trying to sort out. And it's kind of weird tonight, Steve, because you've got a little bit of an odd bench if you're Dallas because you don't have Musa, you don't have Osaze. That's pushed a couple people into the lineup. I mean, I would expect at some point we're probably going to see someone like Christian Kappas just to come on and try to maybe add some numbers in midfield and add some possession to the game. The question becomes, if Ron Benjamin maybe doesn't hold the line left back, you've got Nolan Norris who's dealing with a little bit of something. You've also got Josh Torquato. That's kind of a hard decision to make if you're Eric Quill.
Only they have enough information to make that decision and know,
we definitely don't.
How comfortable they are with Nolan playing a half or Nolan playing 30 minutes or Nolan playing at all tonight. Maybe it was sort of a break glass in case of emergency thing where they really don't want to use him. But, man, I mean, in his absence, it's definitely felt tonight. He's been one of the top performers, most consistent performers for Dallas this season. And his, just by nature being left-footed, but, not to diminish his ability. He's a good passer out of the back as well. That gives Dallas the ability to keep the opponent honest and just to play, balls diagonally across, but also down and behind along the near side when he's playing left back. So his absence is definitely felt. For me, I think, for as good as Benjamin has been, and, he's basically never played in his true position this season. He's played left mid, now he's played left back. He had a couple of sub appearances in the middle. I think you bring in, if Nolan can go, you bring him in. If he can't, you bring in Josh Torquato, who's played more left back. And yes, he's definitely green, but he's at least played 5 games in MLS last year. He's shown he can rise to the occasion. I think that'll just give you a little bit more 1v1 ability defensively and just more know-how of how to play the position, and that will simplify some of these things we're talking about with rotations and other players getting caught out and having to do big recovery runs.
Can I introduce another possible solution?
You can.
Please. As we plot out solutions, we saw last week when Nolan Norris was having a little bit of issue on the left side with one-on-one defending. Who went out there?
Shaq went out there.
Shaq Moore. I mean, that's another possibility because then you can bring in Lalas Abubakar into the center, or if you think that Nolan Norris would do a little less running as a center back, you could bring him in as a left-sided center back.
Or if you just want to completely blow the game up entirely, Sam Sarver is sitting right there.
Let's not get into.
We're not into Sarver time yet.
Let's not do that.
I don't think we are either, but I just, I do like that you have that.
It will come.
That grenade is sitting there. If things get chaotic enough, Eric Quill could pull the pin and really turn this thing up. But luckily, Dallas doesn't have to worry about that right now. They sit 2-1 right now at Colorado at the halftime break. That'll do it for the halftime show. We will take a break. When we come back, Ryan and Steve will get you ready for the second half. It's FC Dallas 2, Colorado 1 at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. You're listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
It's a moment when I show up, God, I'm saying wow.
Welcome to the world of WinStar, the casino of FC Dallas, where 10,000 electronic games, plus roulette, craps, and blackjack is just the beginning. Get lost in our 2-story luxury spa, rest in one of our vast hotel towers, and catch the biggest names in music and comedy at the spectacular Lucas Oil Live, all just 1 hour north of DFW. So come live in the wow at the world of WinStar.
God, I'm saying wow.
Want to hear something incredible? That's Eleanor. Just 10 hours after being born, Eleanor was airlifted to Children's Health and met by our expert team trained in cardiac and critical care. At 4 days old, she received a stent to help her heart pump blood to the rest of her body. And today, she's a happy, healthy 1-year-old. That's incredible. That's children's health. Incredible together.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
Welcome you back for the final half of soccer before the World Cup break. Dallas in front at Dick's Sporting Goods Park so far through 45 minutes. 2-1 your score. 2 goals from the penalty spot. Logan Farrington and Santi Moreno each converting from 12 yards, either side of a Paxton Aronson equalizer. Steve, a weird first half. We discussed it at the halftime break, in which Dallas didn't create much, but they were smart. They were savvy inside the area, winning the 2 penalties. And even though you take the lead into the break, it feels like there's a lot of questions to be answered tactically on both sides ultimately.
Yeah, there are, and it is a little bit of a weird game so far, but you know what? It's about to be a weird time. 6-week break right in the middle of the season, something that's never happened in Major League Soccer, so maybe it's apropos. I think both coaches have some flexibility here to do some different things personnel-wise and tactically, and I don't know if either coach is completely satisfied with what happened in the first half, so interested to see how both teams adjust.
Yeah, it's a venue in which Dallas hasn't won since 2014. The goal scorer on that day, Blas Perez, scored from the penalty spot in the 1-0 win.
By the way, something we didn't talk about in the halftime show, FC Dallas, I know they talked about this in the break. You cannot do anything that even looks or smells like a foul inside the 18 because when Elfath has pointed to the spot twice so far for in Dallas's favor, anything that looks like a foul inside the 18, he's going to point to the spot for the Rapids.
Well, there is one personnel change for the home side. It's Miguel Navarro coming in, 27-year-old Venezuelan in his 5th MLS season. He replaces Jackson Travis, who was playing left back for the Rapids in the first half. Didn't get a look at any potential personnel changes. Looks like it's as you were for FC Dallas. As we await the referee's whistle to get things back going here in the second half. 2 key decisions for Ishmael Elfath in the first half, both going Dallas's way. He blows the whistle here to get things back going in the second half. And it's Colorado in possession to get us back going. Reggie Cannon plays it back to Holding. Dallas have been really good out of the second half break recently, and they're putting the pressure on here. Atencio back to Hansen. Delgado chasing all the way through to the goalkeeper. Harrington back to Hansen under pressure again from Delgado. Back to Harrington. And Navarro can't turn past Kaique, and that's a really soft foul. I think it was the assistant referee who called it, and that prevented Dallas from going in a high turnover and attacking goal.
I mean, Kaique had nicked the ball over there, and he made a little bit of contact, but I agree, it's tough. It's tough when the referee's assistant raises that flag. You know, the referee's really showing him up if he doesn't call the foul.
As we've seen Dallas score inside 5 minutes in the second half of the last 3 games. And they were about to go towards goal and try and make it 4 in a row. Colorado back in possession along the halfway line. It's Navarro. Came over from Chicago Fire in 2023. And he's doing a similar shift to what we saw from Jackson Travis, where he goes inside to try and free up the winger, although it looks like they've swapped wingers to put Yapi up against Benjamin on the far side, Manungu on the near side against Johansson. Here's Aronson through the lines, ahead to Navarro, central position on the dribble. Now gets it out to Yapi, corner of the 18 on the far side. Here's Darren Yapi. Drop of the shoulder, now chips the ball in towards the penalty spot. Bicycle kick attempt from Aronson. Some combination of Sirois and Johansson smuggle it clear and behind for a corner.
I'm glad you said some combination. I wasn't sure which one of them got it. It was right on the line. And it's a really delicate little chipped-in ball from Yapi over there. And he does create a little space behind Benjamin, and then Paxton Aronson just pretty athletic there as he sort of has to twist around and do a half bike at about 12 yards.
It was Johansson ultimately who got the touch, although I think Sirwa would have had it covered. It's out for a corner on this near side to be taken by Aronson. Already on the score sheet tonight. Looking for the in-swinging service. This one towards the back post and over everybody's head, bounces out for a goal kick.
Shackboard doing a good job over there on the backside, just sort of screening Yappy off. And Sirwa is down. I didn't see anything that happened there.
The ball went over his head, over everybody's head. But he stayed down here, and Ibiaga was motioning towards the referee that maybe there was an elbow or a stray arm that caught the Dallas goalkeeper.
Well, it was Navajo that comes over to help him up, so I can only assume it was maybe Navajo that maybe made a little contact there.
Sirwa now back to his feet. That was a really nice block from Johansson moments ago. This sort of make sure it ends up not back into the danger area, but behind for a corner.
Sirwa was scrambling. I'm not sure if he was going to get that or not if Johansson's not there. Good effort by Aronson.
Aronson, like his brother Brendan at times, particularly in his MLS career, really good at arriving late at the top of the box. That's how he scored in the first half as well. Something to watch for Kaique and Ramiro. Lost track of him a couple of times now. Whistle goes for a foul on Navarro. And a yellow card out of the pocket. We'll see who committed the foul.
It's Patrick's and Delgado, so now he's got one. He's got almost as many yellow cards as touches.
And just a little bit late there. Putting the Venezuelan under pressure. Not too bad of a foul, to be honest. Immediately back out to this near side. Manungu closed down by Johansson. Pushed back towards the halfway line. Harrington over to Holding.
I mean, now carrying a yellow card, I can't imagine it'll be too long before we see some kind of change there. Maybe a Kappas for Delgado.
Delgado, who was at his best last week against San Jose and really has been a non-factor so far tonight. Such is the up and down roller coaster ride that Delgado can be. Harrington over to Navarro. Valiente shifting across, low cross along the edge of the 18-yard box, and Ramiro gets a piece of it. And eventually it's sent clear back to the halfway line. And the question for Colorado all season long really has been, can they break teams down? And we know they like to have a lot of the ball. Can they turn that into dangerous attacking moments? It's given away to Ron Benjamin on the corner of the 18-yard box. Dallas looking to work it clear. Kaique turning away from pressure, plays it back into the 18 for Shaq Moore to sink clear. Holding stepping in front, wins possession back for Colorado, but getting too aggressive with it there, puts it in behind for Sirwa to pick up.
No change as far as the basic defensive formation for FC Dallas, 4-4-2. Shaq and Ibiaga in the middle. Herman Johansson is right back. Ronnie Bean is the makeshift left back.
Moreno looking to return it to Benjamin, going on an underlapping run there. It's given away. And now here's Aronson in the middle. Looking for the ball out wide. It's intercepted by Valiente. Turns and plays Johansson. Kaique to Ramiro, quickly out wide, looking for Valiente or maybe Delgado. Neither of them able to receive it. Possession turns over again.
Yeah, Dallas just not sharp in possession tonight, and I think it's, as we've mentioned a couple of times, just some players playing out of position.
Here's Manungu off the near side. Navarro goes on the overlapping run, right-footed cross over everybody's head, and that'll be a goal kick as Benjamin thought about going up to nod it behind, but I think got a good shout there from his goalkeeper.
It's exactly what it looked like, and we talked about Sirwa, a couple of things he needed to do, communicate better. I think he's checking the box there, be a little bit more aggressive and take a little bit more command out there in the penalty area. I think he's done well there. There was only the one moment when he got caught out pretty badly in traffic off Colorado's first corner kick. But otherwise, I think he's been solid in that tonight.
One of those things, reading when to come for a cross, that it's really tough to replicate in training, isn't it? You can get out there with training dummies in front of you and come and catch crosses all day, but it's always about the situation, and each one requires a different read.
And let's throw in the thinner air up in Colorado that does change the flight of the ball just a little bit.
Johansson takes a throw right on the halfway line, back to Ramiro, hits the switch over to Moreno, chested down in the center circle, out to Benjamin. Quick 1-2 between he and Moreno. Now Ron Benjamin back on it. Able to keep it away from Navarro just about. And Moreno turns and plays back to Shaq Moore. Ramiro down the line again to Moreno. Moreno finds the feet of Delgado, able to get turned here. Dangerous position in the middle, out wide. Valiente onto his favored left foot, waits for the overlapping run. Here's Johansson into the 18 along the near side. Low cross defended at the near post by Harrington, behind for a corner. And for maybe the first time, for sure in the second half the first time, we see a pattern of play nearly come off for Dallas and force Harrington into some emergency defending.
Yeah, it was really nice and sharp passing, good decisions, and that's what happens when Delgado finds a way to get himself involved in the match, because he was right in the middle of all that.
And it'll lead to a Valiente corner from this near side. Dallas a couple goals from corner kicks this season, but that was Norris and Uragide, neither on the field here, as it's whipped in off the left foot into the top of the six. Bodies hit the deck. Now Ramiro through traffic on the follow-up, got under it, and it's over the bar, as Ramiro was looking for a late birthday gift there.
Oh, Ramiro, that ball comes right to him at the top of the penalty area. He's got time to settle it. Oh, man, back behind the play. Johansson just got cleared out there.
We were watching MLS 360 before this game, and we saw a penalty given for a whole lot less contact than that.
Yeah,
but I don't think they're going to give Dallas a third penalty tonight for contact away from the ball.
No. You really can't complain about penalty kicks tonight if you're Dallas. By the way, that was Lucas Bartlett that won that one that you were just referring to, and that's former FC Dallas player.
Farrington trying to chest it down for Valiente, but Atencio gets in the way. For me, although we're seeing some maybe signs of life from the Dallas attack, as Holding stands on it inside the 18-yard box, back to Hansen. Feels like a game crying out for Christian Kappas and his technical ability. Colorado forced into their own corner here. Eventually, Atencio hooks it down the line, and Ibiaga will recover possession, get it back to Sirois.
Yeah, Kappas and his not just technical ability, but just smart in possession. And honestly, if they can find Santi Marino is a little bit more of a target winger, a little bit quicker. I mean, his technical work on the ball and receiving the ball is good.
Shaq bouncing ball, nods it back to Sirois, who throws it out to Johansson, receiving it on the near side. Ramiro in the middle, plays it back to Kaique, under pressure from Navarro. Good composure there to skip away from the forward. And now it is out to Moreno. Moreno driving into the Colorado half. Benjamin making the run beyond him, receives it now. Back for Kaique. Diagonal ball off his right foot, looking for the run of Farrington at the back post, and that time it was Navarro to nod it down to his goalkeeper.
Another good example there. Santi Marino, for being a creative player, his ball security is pretty good.
Oh, Valiente looked like he picked the pocket there of Aronson, and not for the first time tonight. Dallas nearly forcing a turnover, but the referee's whistle is what stops them. And that was another close call.
I mean, it seems to me that Ismail Elfath is providing Colorado some benefit of the doubt on those. And again, he's pointed at the spot twice for Dallas, so you sort of can't blame him.
Yeah, but here's a giveaway in the middle of the field, and now Farrington drives forward, two options to his left. Here he brings it forward on the dribble. Atencio closing him down, as well as Harrington. He's forced wide and slips on the ball, and the attack breaks down. If you're playing a team that takes risks in possession, getting those bailout fouls is actually really consequential because it gives them that extra little bit of wiggle room to make mistakes.
Well, they made one there, and Dallas just couldn't do anything with it. For a minute, it was 3-on-3, and you always want to be at least +1 as a defensive team, and Logan Farrington just sort of ran out of ideas.
Moreno's switching ball under hit, turns it over. Now Manungu gets it ahead to Navarro. Overlapping run from Yapi, 2-8 in the middle. Yapi low cross is defended by Ibiaga and sent out by Shaq Moore to Moreno. Trying to combine with Ramiro, just about corrals it. Left center channel inside the Dallas half. Here's Moreno again. This time the switching ball is on point, looking for Valiente, who receives it. Looking They come inside on his favored left foot, but he turns and plays back for Ibiaga. Out to Benjamin again. They'll move it again along the back line, and now all the way back to Sirois. Sirois, diagonal ball. Johansson trying to flick it on. He's usually the target on those. Got a piece of it, but it's Harrington who retrieves it for Colorado.
Johansson's so good at winning those. They go to him so often because he wins most of them. They just don't always win that second ball.
Navarro just throwing himself to the ground there. Gets a free kick. And it'll be wide on this near side. A chance for Colorado to send it in the box. They'll make a change before that. And it's Connor Ronan coming into the game, replacing Wayne Frederick in midfield.
Not surprising that Colorado would go to the bench just a little bit earlier than Dallas, seeing that they're coming off that midweek U.S. Open Cup win.
Second substitution, first sub window used for Ali Harris, who's on the touchline in place of Matt Wells tonight for Colorado. Wells suspended with 3 yellow cards stacked up. Aronson standing over the free kick on the near side. Bending ball in off his right foot. Headed up in the air by Ibiaga. Fight for the second ball, and Valiente comes away with it. Gets it out towards Benjamin on the far side. Skips past his defender, and there's runners in this attack now for Dallas. Benjamin switching the point of attack out to Ramiro on this near side. Now Ramiro back out to the far side looking for the run of Kaique. Bodies hit the deck at the top of the box as the referee's whistle brings an end to the attack. And it was Reggie Cannon who's picked up now by his teammate. Got back, won the header. But really it was Connor Ronan just in the game who torpedoed himself into his own teammate there.
The second time tonight, Dallas had an opportunity on a jailbreak and just haven't been great in transition.
Well, Patrickson just kicked the ball out off of a Colorado player in front of God and everybody, and the throw went for the home side. Concern, though, is Johansson, who's flexing his left leg, holding his groin, and talking with the Dallas training staff. As we've played an hour, a mile high tonight, he'll play on. As there's a ball given away by Ibiaga, turned over, and now Aronson finds it in the middle. It's Navarro, top of the box, skips past Shaq Moore, and some emergency defending there from Benjamin. A crucial block, puts it behind for a corner as Navarro was bearing down on goal.
Well, that's about 3 times tonight when Colorado's had good looks, and you're right, it was great emergency defending there from Benjamin. Maybe one of his best moments, second best moment after winning the penalty kick.
It'll be Connor Ronan now to take the corner kick from the near side. Irish midfielder came through at Wolves, but now has spent a good amount of time in Colorado. This one towards the back post again, headed back into the 6-yard box. Delgado gets it clear. Loose ball retrieved by Manungu for the Rapids. Manungu off this near side. Valiente defending. Hesitation, and Manungu still looking for space. Now turns and plays back. Ronan, first time ball in to the top of the box. It's challenged at the back post between Yapi and Johansson. Then Yapi undercuts Benjamin. We play on. Ball back into the area, headed away by Ibiaga. Rapids recover possession. Dallas just pinned back defensively for the moment with players all sorts of out of position. There's a loose pass from Ronan in midfield, a turnover, and a quick 1-2 between Valiente and Farrington. Now Ramiro makes his way forward up the right side. Referee plays advantage, but really there's no advantage for Ramiro, who's up there all on his own, and it breaks down predictably. That was one they should have called the foul on, as Farrington was tripped up away from the play.
Yeah, he was about to get out on the run and was taken down, and maybe El Fast will come back, but as of now, he's just, as Farrington's complaining, he's saying, well, you had the ball forward, so, but I agree with you, there wasn't much of an advantage to be played there.
It's one of those where if you call that an advantage, I'd rather Ramiro just kick the ball out of play, bring it back for a foul. Possession with Colorado in the center circle and Rob Holding. Conversations on the Dallas bench right now. See if they turn to the bench for the first time tonight. Manungu looking to find a way past Johansson, but the Swede puts it out for a throw.
I mean, all you have to do is get into the 75th minute, and then Sam Sarver comes in and gets you the insurance goal. It's that simple.
We might
I
find
don't know
out
what the conversation is.
how much Sarver time we can get tonight.
I think I just saw Nolan Norris maybe being summoned.
Harrington plays it down the line on this near side for Navarro.
Looks like Kappas is getting his shirt on as well, and so is Sam Sarver.
A lot of blonde hair in this triple sub about to come in the game.
And well, two blondes and a ginger.
That's Benjamin near his own corner flag on the far side, defending against Yapi. Yapi comes away with it. Help there from Valiente. Now Valiente looking for a way out. Sends it downfield off his right foot. Delgado can't keep hold of it. Moreno cleared out off the ball. He picks himself up. Holding now left center channel. Puts it in behind for the run of Navarro, but overhit it. That was a dangerous run there from the Venezuelan. Not found. And I think these changes are coming at a good time. Maybe would have even liked to see them sooner, but this team needs a lift, having scored both goals in the first half from the penalty spot.
Yeah, the information we don't know here is what's going on over there with Johansson. You mentioned him showing a little bit of discomfort. Looks like they're going to wait just a little bit longer to bring the changes in.
Sirois sends it long. Farrington and Harrington heads go up. Last touch off the Colorado center back, out for a throw, and now Dallas can make those changes. So we're stretching Sam Sarver time to see if we can get a little bit more of an impact from the man of the moment. First change is Kappas in for Patrickson Delgado.
That one's pretty predictable.
And Johansson's in for Sam Sarver, who looks like he might have to play right back here. Nolan Norris will also come in the game. Didn't get a glance at the board to see who for just yet. Johansson walking off gingerly, but not immediately receiving any type of attention from the medical staff. Moreno, the other player, replaced. So that looks like a change in shape to me. As Dallas go back to three center backs with wing backs. Benjamin left wing back and Sarver right wing back. Kappas in midfield. Valiente supporting Logan Farrington. Ball out of play for a Colorado throw right on the halfway line. Atencio turns, plays it back again for Harrington. Holding brings it forward on the dribble. Navarro on the turn. Finds Navarro, the Venezuelan. Out wide from Manungu. Sarver first task defensively. Navarro goes on the overlap. Low cross sent in. Defended there by Shaq Moore. It's going to be behind for a corner.
Stop me if you've heard this before. Shaq Moore having a really solid game.
That was a dangerous ball sent in, and Sirois was sprawled out to try and make a play on it, but before it got to him, it was Shaq to put it behind. Colorado targeting the back post on the last couple of corners. Here's Ronan again. Again towards the back post and nodded off target by Rob Holding. I'll be behind for a goal kick. '66th minute, 2-1 your score. All the scoring coming in the first half. Sirois sets up a goal kick here. So wait to see what kind of impact those first three changes for Eric Quill can have in this game.
Dallas really hasn't found anything in the attack in the second half outside of that one sequence that ended up in FCD's first corner kick. Dallas still just 2 shots on the night that didn't come from the spot.
Off the goal kick, a bit of head tennis, and then Ronan sends it downfield. Retrieved on the halfway line by Miguel Navarro. Turns and plays back for Harrington. Reggie Cannon over to Ronan. Ronan down the line again. Dallas putting the pressure higher up the field. Benjamin have a little bit more freedom now as a wing back as opposed to a traditional left back. Harrington brings it into the attacking half for Colorado on the dribble. Out to Manungu on this near side. A lot of pace in this battle between Sarver and Manungu. That time Sarver wins it. And then Kappas is eventually tripped up by Atencio from behind. And it'll be a free kick just on the near side of halfway. Free kick taken down the line. Possession turns over. Now Colorado bring it forward up this near side. Manungu. Manungu running at Ibiaga here in space. Corner of the 18-yard box. Skips past Ibiaga, but Shackmore again helping out and preventing the corner. It's going to spin out for a throw. Great defending there again from Shackmore helping out as he looks like he's playing the middle of the back three role.
Which would be, by my count, the 6th position he's played this
Corner
year.
taken short, back to Atencio. I was looking for Navajo, who slipped over. Header won by Nolan Norris. First touch for him. Ball bouncing at the top of the 18-yard box. Yapi back for Atencio. On the way back for holding. Wide for Miguel Navarro. Down the line for Manungu. They're testing Sarver defensively. Manungu darts inside. Bending ball off the right foot. Looking for Navajo. And ends up just out of his reach as Shaq able to get a body on him. Good ball in there from Manungu.
Yeah, Sam Sarver, I think, is going to need a little bit more help out there in those one-on-one battles with Manungu.
Heading into the final 20 minutes plus stoppage time in this game. Sirois, another goal kick. Now it's Logan Farrington who's the target, and Farrington just absolutely cleared out. Malicious there from Navarro, had no eyes for the ball. Farrington ends up in a heap off the field, holding his shoulder and grimacing in some serious pain.
Looks like Navarro's going to get a yellow card for that.
That's
Colorado, no stranger to yellow cards, come into the league with more yellow cards than. Oh, that's ridiculous. It's not violent that he as he charges into him, but you're right. I mean, he's nowhere near the ball. He's not even trying to make it look like he's going for the ball. He just clatters into him with the shoulder.
Completely useless too, because the ball was flying out of play.
It was.
And Dallas will take it, I guess. Sent down the line for Farrington, who's now back to his feet. He's going to put Harrington under pressure, and last touch came off of the Dallas man.
I think it'll be a corner. It was off Navarro. Yeah, Farrington put enough pressure on him that he sort of let it slip out. Navarro sort of let it slip out from underneath his feet. So not the best 30 seconds from Rafael Navarro.
That'd be Miguel Navarro.
That would be the other. That would be the
juggle the two.
The Navajos and the Navarros and the same spelling. I'll just call them Navarro from now on.
So they've got the country on the chest too to help us out.
That's true.
Today.
That's true.
Venezuela and
I like that. I really like that the touch on the uniforms.
Corner kick from the near side for Dallas, who could really use an insurance goal. They've brought in a specialist in such, and Sam Sarver. There's a check here as Ishmael Elfath is pointing to his ear and asking Dallas to hold play.
I wonder what they'd be checking.
He's communicating at least with both sides, though we are not privy to that communication.
Off the ball, there are two players jostling for position, and Elfath looks a little frustrated as he walks over and says, "Hey guys, what are you doing? I told everybody to hold the ball."
All cleared. Thumbs up from the referee, and now Valiente will take the corner. Whipped in towards the near post and headed there by believe Rob Holding, behind for another corner, another chance for Valiente.
No problem for Dallas on all this. I mean, anything that happens with the referee, any hold up in play, any delay, I think they're fine with it. They've tried to play at a slow tempo all night.
Subsequent corner kick, punched away by Hansen. Bouncing ball, second ball in the middle of the field. Sarver swings a left foot at it, awkwardly back to the halfway line. And Shaq Moore, his clearance blocked up in the air. It's all becoming a bit of a mess. Sarver then draws a foul, and Aronson sprints over to the referee to let him know his displeasure. That's about as obvious as you can be in dissent there for the Colorado number 10, who just talked his way into the book.
Yeah, I mean, Elfath is a FIFA-level referee. If you run right toward him screaming.
And I'm not sure what he's complaining about, really. He's just put his shoulder into the back of Sam Sarver.
I think they're frustrated. Sarver had position. Aronson just sort of clattered into him. Again, look, Colorado plays right on the edge.
Free kick taken in behind towards the corner flag on the near side. Farrington at full stretch to try and track it down. Does keep it in play and wins it back from Harrington, who got position briefly. Now low cross sent in to the edge of the 6-yard box, and that one is out for a throw on this near side, and that will allow some substitutes into the game for Colorado, including Dante Seeley, the former Dallas homegrown, who's in to replace Rob Holding, a very attacking move for the Rapids. Manungu also coming off the field here.
Dante Seeley, I think it'd be easy to look at the season he had last year in Montreal and doing well at Colorado and sort of criticize Dallas.
Manyoma also in the game on the wings, and Ibiaga takes the long throw in. Edge of the 6-yard box, headed away. Bouncing ball to top of the box, and well caught there by Christian Kappas, but off target, not by much.
Second time a midfielder's had a really good look at the top of the penalty area. The first time was Ramiro. Both times they've shot high. Saying a while ago that I think, though, what would be unfair if you criticize Dallas would be that I think Seeley needed that sort of to shake loose whatever was holding him back. And I think when he wasn't invited back to Dallas or shipped off to Montreal, I think probably told him something, and he got his game together.
Ended up moving to Colorado for a hefty chunk of change, over $1 million in GAM. CF Montreal in the trade. Here's a chance now for Manyoma, the other winger off the bench. Finds Ronan, middle of the field, keeps it moving. Manyoma again, now in a central position. Ronan out to the far side for Seeley. Playing off the right wing for Colorado, onto his favorite left foot. Low cross, easily dealt with there by Kappas. Repelled out to Ronan. Ronan back out to Seeley, who bends it in off the left foot, looking for the back post. Header on target, saved by Sirois. Navajo, his first shot on target tonight, beat Sarver at the back post, and Sirois quickly rolls it out. Now Farrington on the dribble in the attacking third here. Players hit the deck there. Harrington and Farrington have been scrapping all night long. And now Navajo driving forward through the middle of the field. Yapi off the left wing. Navarro on the overlapping run. Digs out the cross towards the back post over the head of Manyoma, who made the run. It's retrieved by Navajo. Aronson, right center channel here. Plays it ahead to Seeley. Down the line for the overlapping run of Cannon. Right-footed cross, headed away by Ibiaga. Manyoma dispossessed initially by Valiente, but he wins it back himself. And another just really obvious dive given as a foul, and this one is right on the edge of shooting range for someone like a Dante Seeley. And it was Miguel Navarro, who's not been good at disguising his intentions tonight. I think he bought one from the referee on that occasion.
I mean, you say it's an obvious dive. Yeah, he felt the contact went down awful easy. But there again, you can't do that. You can't, if you're Ibiaga, you're too experienced. you just can't go in and create that contact from behind. And so now this free kick is going to come at about 26 yards out, just slightly left of goal.
And if there's one thing that Dante Sealy has in his bag that we've seen both in his time in Dallas and then subsequently in Montreal, it is the free kick. And he's going to have a chance maybe to step up here against his former club, although Aronson is in conversation with him as well. Aronson already on the score sheet, has a couple of free kick goals in Colorado colors. I think the angle might favor the right foot. Referee policing the wall. It's 4 players in the Dallas wall, 2 players trying to block the view of Sirois for Colorado. Aronson leaves it for Dante Sealy straight into the wall. Ronan on the follow-up is way off target. Let off easy that time. Colorado on the set play.
Well, we've talked about how important this match is. Dallas now 12 minutes plus stoppage time, not even 12 minutes of getting into a position where they can even improve. They're in 5th place at 15 in the West. I think that's pretty good. Might be able to move up a little bit. I think if you're sitting 4th or 5th in the West for 6 weeks, you're going to get some people taking notice.
And it's a game which was strange in the first half. The Dallas goal was coming from the penalty spot. All told, haven't really created much in the second half either. Obviously, all of this in the absence of Petar Musa, who's joined up with Croatia already ahead of the World Cup.
A couple of chances at the top of the penalty area. Really not much past that. Herman Johansson streaking into the penalty area on that one transition moment and getting an effective cross in that turned into a corner kick, but didn't turn into much else past that.
Going for Benjamin on the far side, finds Farrington, who's able to turn past his defender and puts it in behind, looking for Sarver. Navarro at full stretch keeps it away from him, as we nearly had a chance for another Sam Sarver moment, but going the other way, it's Darren Yapi. Kappas fighting to get back in position. Yapi with the cross in towards the near post, actually more of a shot, covered up by Sirois.
I mean, the angle was closing on Yapi, and I think Sirois was cheating out just a little bit. He definitely took a step out, and then Yapi almost squeezed it in past that near post.
Ronan drives forward up the near side touchline, turns, plays it back for Manyoma, floating all over the field since coming on. His diagonal ball's headed away by Benjamin, back into the Colorado end. Looks like Colorado are going to make their final change here in just a moment. Keegan Rosenberry warmed up and ready. Darren Yapi puts it in behind for Navarro, who stopped his run. I think he went straight into an offside position, but Yapi's frustrated with him nonetheless, as Rosenberry is in to this game now. And he replaces Reggie Cannon. Rosenberry scored a really weird goal against Dallas last year. It was, to be honest, I'm shocked it was given to him. It was more of an own goal, deflected cross. But he's on it right back for these final 10 minutes and change. Almost 300 appearances in the career of Keegan Rosenberry.
I mean, not shocking that they're making these they're doing everything they can, Colorado, to get the equalizer here. I mean, they've lost their last 2 at home. One of them was to Miami, and Leo Messi, but the other one was to St. Louis. They're desperate for a little success at home.
Also goes for offside, I believe, as Norris had sent a booming header downfield. Dallas going to make their final 2 changes here in just a moment. A couple of young players going to play a role down the stretch. We'll get to that when they enter. Here's Manyoma out to the near side for Yapi. Navarro goes on the overlap. Yapi cutting inside. Plays it into midfield for Ronan. Out to the far side, Aronson. Wide for Sealy, return to Aronson. Sliding tackle from Kaique is a good one, and he puts it out for a corner.
It was a good one, and the key there was he was about a step outside the penalty area on the right side when he went down to the ground, and that's smart. You want to go onto the ground, okay, but do it outside the penalty area. I think that one of the changes, I wonder if it's going to be to get Sam Sarver a little further up the field. He hasn't looked the best in his defending out there on the island tonight.
Connor Ronan from the far side. Keys the runs with the right arm raised in the air, sent to the top of the 6-yard box. Header won by Ibiaga. Good distance on the clearance. Out to Rosenberry. Back out to Ronan the taker. Lifts this one in to the mixer over everybody's head and behind for a goal kick.
Ibiaga's been really solid tonight as well. He's good defending inside the 18. I mentioned that Shaq, outside of a couple of shaky moments with the ball, I think both starting center backs, when they were in a different formation, I think they both done well.
So it's Nick Simmons on to replace Logan Farrington, who grabbed a goal from the penalty spot in the first half tonight. And Ramiro will be replaced by Caleb Swan on just for his second career MLS appearance. Bring some energy into midfield. Well, Simmons notably called up to the senior Jamaican national team. He'll be heading over to England for a pair of friendlies with the Reggae Boys after this. But he's got a role to play down the stretch in Commerce City tonight.
I mean, such an important 10 or 12 minutes here, adding in the injury time. And Eric Kuhl showing a lot of trust in some young players there.
We saw him do it with Diego Garcia last season, seeing out a game on the road at Portland. Turning to Caleb Swan here, who he handed a debut to on the road in New York in a 2-0 win. This game very much hanging in the balance. And now it's he and Benjamin drawing a foul from Dante Seeley.
A little bit of concern there as Benjamin reaches down and sort of stretches out that left calf, and he's just going to have to play through it because they're out of subs now.
He sort of comically slipped on the ball, and then Seeley hit the deck as well and pulled him back, so ends up as a Dallas free kick.
A little frustration from the Colorado sideline, and Dallas just taking their time, manipulating the clock a little bit.
Clearance is traded back and forth. Ball up in the air. Header won by Ibiaga. Back into the Colorado end. Valiente scrapping forward on the halfway line. Hooks it forward. Simmons flicked it on. And Caleb Swan, the furthest forward, will chase. But it's back to Hansen in goal for Colorado.
Not sure that's how they drew it up, but that's how it ended up that time.
Navarro to Ronan in the middle. Hitting the switching ball. It's easily intercepted by Benjamin, but he couldn't really control it. It breaks for Aronson, now wide again for Seeley. Seeley looking to get to his left foot. Runs into 4 bodies there. And that was more of the frustrating Dante Seeley that we saw at times in Dallas.
Yeah, and the important thing there is Dallas defenders really kept their feet moving. Just didn't take a stab at the ball, take a chance on giving up the penalty kick.
Back out to this near side for Darren Yappy. Big touch inside, then bends the ball in. It's Aronson header off target. The Colorado number 10 continues to be dangerous in and around that top of the box area.
I mean, all the possession tonight for Colorado, sitting right now at 64%. All the crosses. Officially on the MLS pack, they've got 13 of them. And Sarwad just really hasn't had to do a whole lot. 3 saves officially. 1.5 expected goals from Colorado.
Well, historically, these final 5 minutes in stoppage time is when something bad will happen. When Dallas plays at Colorado, something will go wrong. We'll see if they can snap that streak and pick up a first win in Commerce City since 2014. Tried to take a goal kick, but we've got Colorado players off the bench up and protesting, and somebody's been sent off there. Wayne Frederick, who started this game, has since been substituted.
Yeah, he just got sent off, and then he sort of gave the sarcastic applause in the face of Ismail Alfath. And again, if a FIFA level referee, you know, if you do that into a FIFA level referee, they get criticized, you know, by their higher ups if you don't exercise your authority in the match. And so Elfath really with no, you know, he doesn't have a lot of choice there. That's just kind of silly. But it's a lot of frustration again from a team that's very close to losing for the 3rd straight match at home. At least in MLS play.
And it's a real lack of discipline from a team that has shown it consistently this year. Yellow cards, red cards. That's now their 4th red card of the season. This one won't mean they'll play down a man, but Sam Sarver wins a foul, and Navarro, who was booked for a similar challenge to the one he just made, just nudging Sarver. To me, it's just a team that's absolutely lost their heads here.
They have. That's just not smart. I mean, again, it's
the same thing. If it was a yellow card the first time, it should be a yellow card again. He looks at Sarver and runs through him without even attempting to play the ball.
I mean, I sort of don't blame Ismail Alfath for being a little bit more lenient there with the second yellow card, but you would like to go over and tell him, son, you're walking the line here.
Kappas will take the free kick from in front of the Colorado bench. Bending towards the near side, Simmons going to try and keep it in play. Does keep it in play, only for Navarro to win possession back, and then Navarro goes down. He's
the referee's assistant over there. He's waving that flag, and there's not very much contact at all.
Hansen standing on it in his own area, plays it over to Harrington, who drives forward on the dribble out of the 18-yard box, plays it ahead to Ronan. Final 90 seconds to the 90 minutes, plus whatever's added on here. Ball out to the far side, looking for Sealy, breaks for Aronson. Aronson, left-footed shot, saved by Sirois, only as far as Sealy, who couldn't find the rebound, and Dallas work it clear. Big stop there for Sirois. And Colorado continue to build on the far side. Navajo bending it in, looking for Manyoma. His header's off target. And it'll be a goal kick.
He got up over Sarver that time, but just Sarver had enough of a body on it that the shot was pretty weak in the end. It was a decent save a minute ago on the long-range effort from Sirois. Sort of left a rebound in a bad spot, but Dallas able to clear that one away.
And Sirois will set it up for another goal kick. And this has been the main point of contention, I think, for Colorado down the stretch of this game, is the time taken over goal kicks.
Yeah, goal kicks, throw-ins. I feel like it's – I don't think it's excessive, by the way, from FC Dallas. Colorado just frustrated.
Long ball controlled by Caleb Swan, who tried to bend it in behind for Nick Simmons on the volley there, and it bounces through for Hansen. Maybe a moment for Caleb Swan to slow the play down there.
I was thinking the same.
He's defending on the halfway line and forces Rosenberry back. Josh Atencio has been filling in as a center back. Plays it over to Harrington as the board goes up. 5 minutes added on here for Dallas to navigate in stoppage time.
I thought there might be more than that.
Navarro forward from left back, bending a ball in. Header won by Shaq Moore on the top of the 6. Valiente and Yappi fighting forward on this near side. Yappi drop of the shoulder to try and create some space. Valiente, good defending there. No way past the Uruguayan. Back heel down the line, and Sarver sends it clear. And Eric Quill waves everybody forward. There's 30 seconds played of the 5 added on. And Sarver looking to go tight there against Yappi. Commits the foul. Yappi down holding his head. Needs to just pick himself up and play on here as this team.
Sarver gets a yellow card for it. Nothing to do here, though. It's take your yellow card and get back and get ready to defend.
I think that's the 4th yellow card this season against Sam Sarver. I'll have to check. But because of the nature of his celebrations, he has had to walk that tightrope now. He may be one away from suspension when we return on June 22nd. We'll worry about that later. There's 4 minutes to play here. Ronan whips a right foot through it towards the back post. Heads go up. It spins out for a corner kick. The flag goes up for offside, and that's a bailout there for the Dallas back line.
3.5 minutes to defend this 1-goal lead, and Dallas, again, pretty good at defending the 6 and the 18 tonight.
Doing all of this without Osaze Urguide in there. He's held out through injury. He's questionable coming in, but not involved tonight.
And I know it's been different, but scoring 2 goals on the road without your best player overall, Petr Musa, that's good too.
Sent long by Sirois, challenge for the ball, and then Norris Pokes it away from Sealy. Back the other way, though. Navajo, nice first touch to spring Aronson in space on the far side. Aronson, low cross in. Ibiaga deals with it. Back out towards Aronson, who retrieves it. Swan now back defensively. Aronson back to Ronan. First time cross, whipped in. Edge of the 6-yard box. Header won by Norris. Back out the other way. Halfway through the 5, added on. Manyoma plays Ronan in the middle. Ronan. Ball forward for Navarro, now wide from Manyoma. Slip pass to the byline for Navarro. Left-footed cross dug out to the top of the box. It's Aronson volley, blocked by Swan. Appeals for a handball. We play on for the moment. Atencio bins the ball in off the right foot, right to the top of the 6. Header won by Sarver and swept out for a throw by Shaq Moore.
The defending looking pretty nervy right now, and Dallas a minute ago getting caught 3v3 in transition, and with the 1-goal lead this late, I don't know how that happens, but they got away with it.
And no further review there for a potential handball against Swan. We play on this near side. Ronan going to switch the point of attack over to Atencio, right center channel. Now wide on the far side, Rosenberry turns and plays Atencio again. Harrington in the middle. Eric Cole waving his team out of the 18-yard box. Everybody back defensively. Manyoma, right-footed cross towards the back post. Header won by Benjamin, up in the air. Rosenberry turns and plays it back. Final 90 seconds of stoppage time here.
The problem is everybody is so deep because there's so many players out of position, unfamiliar. They just don't know where to be.
Harrington to the feet of Navajo, sets it down for Yapi. Caleb Swan making himself a nuisance defensively, forces it wide. Aronson bending it in off the right foot. Sarver wins the header, flicked out for a throw on this near side into the final minute.
Dallas really good at defending the box, but not good at defending these crosses right now.
Manyoma back for Harrington. Is there a sting at the tail for the Rapids tonight? Rosenberry out to the far side. Sealy, left-footed ball, bending in over the head of Sarver. Header towards the back post. Big save, Sirois. Puts his body on the line, and eventually Caleb Swan puts it out for a throw.
It's a great moment from Sirois. Just as good as the penalty kick save last week, because as the ball is headed back across goal, he's big and brave and gets into a collision there as he punches it away.
And now the ball in his hands. He's going to send it down the field into the final seconds of stoppage time. There's 2 Dallas players forward, and Hansen's made a mess of it. Eventually, he puts it out for a throw. And Kaike and Simmons were the 2 Dallas players forward. I think they're going to slow things down here. A thumbs up back to the goalkeeper for spotting a chance to maybe kill this game off, but really it's the time that they bought by doing so. That will mean that Dallas snaps another streak in Commerce City tonight. They win at a mile high for the first time since 2014, 2-1 on the road, and they will head into the World Cup break in the top 4 in the Western Conference. Steve, this one may be the furthest thing from a pretty magnum opus of a performance, but ultimately with a big save late from Jonathan Sirois, they held on. They got it done tonight against the Rapids.
I tell you what, Ryan, all around the country, somebody checking their scores on their phone, checking their laptop, whatever, all they see is that Dallas won 2-1 on the road, won a 3rd consecutive road match for the first time since 2005.
The Road Warriors are in full force. They're ready for the 7 games to come away from home when we return. They go into the break with 2 wins from 2 to start off this 9-game road stretch away from home. We'll break it down for you here on the FC Dallas Radio Network post-game show. This one ends up 2-1 in favor of FC Dallas at the Colorado Rapids tonight. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
Hey campers, it's Jan from Toyota. This summer, we're headed to Camp Toyota, and the fun starts now! We're kicking things off by kicking up mud. Jump in, campers. We're going off-roading in a 4Runner. Next, we're heading to the hot springs in a RAV4. And finally, park your Tundras and Tacomas around the campfire because we're roasting marshmallows. Your summer starts here.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 1st. Toyota, let's go places.
UT Southwestern Medical Center in Dallas, Texas, where discoveries change lives. The spark of collaboration that fuels bold thinking in our labs. The spark of inspiration that motivates greatness in the next generation. And the spark of innovation that pushes the boundaries of today's care. At UT Southwestern, teamwork and talent combine to fuel discovery, education, and healing. UT Southwestern, the future of medicine sparks here.
This is Logan Farrington, striker for FC Dallas. Behind every goal, there's a team you don't always see. The ones keeping everything running, secure, connected, ready. That's General Informatics. From cybersecurity to smarter IT solutions, General Informatics powers FC Dallas with advanced technology support so we can stay focused on the game. General Informatics. Complex IT made simple.
After 90 minutes at Dick's Sporting Goods Park, FC Dallas does it again. For the first time since 2014, they beat the Colorado Rapids in Commerce City 2-1 here tonight as they head to the World Cup break in fourth place, at least for now, in the Western Conference. Hello, everybody. It is the FC Dallas postgame show brought to you tonight by your local Toyota dealer, Toyota. Let's go places. Also brought to you this evening by UMB Bank. See how UMB can help you achieve your business goals. I'm your host, Sam Hale. I'll be joined in just a moment by the voices of tonight's victory, Ryan Figert and Steve Davis. But let's start first with your post-game highlights. It came first in the 12th minute when Logan Farrington was tripped up in the penalty box by Paxton Aronson. That sent the big dog to the penalty spot, and he delivered.
Hansen stands 12 yards away. Deep breaths for Logan Farrington. Stares down the Colorado goalkeeper. And Farrington scores with pace and precision into the bottom corner. And a shush to the Colorado crowd as Dallas get on the board first.
Farrington's sixth of the season made it 1-0 Dallas in the 12th minute. That lead would only last about 60 seconds as Paxton Aronson would run the distance on the other side and blast in a goal. That made it 1-1 in the 13th minute off the foot of Paxton Aronson. But it wouldn't stay that way at the halftime break, as this time it was Ron Benjamin tripped up in almost the exact same spot, and that sent Santi Moreno to the penalty spot.
Here's the Dallas number 10, a chance to restore the lead. Moreno, stutter step, stares down the keeper and rolls it into the back of the net. Make it 2-1 Dallas as Santi Moreno strikes on the stroke of halftime.
Moreno's second goal in Dallas colors made it 2-1 Dallas at the break, and that's where we finish up after 90-plus minutes in Commerce City. Let's get you tonight's post-game stats. Those are brought to you by UMB Bank. Possession battle goes the way of Colorado's 64-36. 18 total shots for the Rapids, but despite that, only 6 on target. 5 total shots for Dallas, just 2 of those on target for FCD. 5 saves tonight for Jonathan Sirois, including a couple late down the stretch that kept Dallas ahead. No saves tonight for Nicholas Hansen. You've got 11 fouls for the Rapids, 3 yellow cards, and 1 red card. That went to Wayne Frederick on the bench late as Colorado seemingly lost their head for some reason. 13 fouls, 3 yellow cards, no red cards for FCD in victory this evening. Now let's bring in the voices of this victory. It's Ryan Figert and it's Steve Davis. And I want to zoom out a little bit here because if you recall, all three of us were on the FC Dallas agenda right before the Red Bull game that started this run. And we each were saying, what did we think was going to be plausible and what did we think would actually happen? Both of you lads said, hey, 9 points, which would get you, 2 wins and maybe 3 draws, or 3 wins and 2 losses. There's a couple of machinations. I said 7. I don't think any of us had 12 in the book on this one, but Dallas comes out of a pretty tough 5-game stretch with 12 of 15 points. And Ryan, I got to say, that's a pretty big success for Eric Quill's group.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a smashing success considering, that 3-game run where they had 3 home games. They didn't win any of them in mid-April. Then you had the rotated squad at Seattle to find yourself, to regather the group, to, recreate, the style of play a little bit, going to a different formation with 4 across the back line. To dig deep and pick up road points. You've got, the 2-0 win at New York, the 3-1 home win against RSL, probably the best home win so far this season. Coming close against Vancouver, a game in which you definitely could have got at least a point with that performance. But then going on the road to beat San Jose and Colorado to close it out before the World Cup break, you take a lot of momentum into that 60-day stretch without a game, and the vibes are good, and there's a chance now to continue to push on when they come back. The road form just has to give them so much belief because, when the schedule dropped and you had construction, you had the World Cup and all these quirks within it to create this in total 9-game consecutive stretch on the road, it looked daunting, right? And most teams across the league would look at that and say, we're not going to get many points 9 times in a row away from home. But with this Dallas team, their record away from home is better than they are here at Toyota Stadium, at least so far over the last couple of seasons. And they've taken it to another level on the road. These 3 straight road victories. That's the first time they've done that since 2005. That's how rare this type of road form is, and particularly in Major League Soccer where home advantage has been so strong historically. To continue to go on the road and do what they've done gives them so much belief heading into this second half of the season when we return that they can go on and really do something special this season.
We've talked before about some matches where they played well on the road. This one tonight, in a way, to me, guys, was sort of one of the more impressive road performances because, you're missing basically your 2 best players, Osaze Urguide along the back line, Petr Musa up front. You got 4 players, as we mentioned several times in the broadcast, who were sort of more or less playing out of position. By the end, you got a couple of rookies in there, and somehow they still found a way. And we sort of talked about one of the keys to the match was understanding the moment and how important it was to get into this big break, this unprecedented break in Major League Soccer with a win, and you feel good about the way you go into the break and have a little bit of a holiday, a mini holiday in the middle of the season. Kind of weird, but feel good about yourself. Players feel good about yourself. Technical staff feel good. Coaches feel good about it. Well, tonight I think you can all feel good about finding a way to win, even when you didn't have a lot going offensively, but you did well enough in defending your box. Your goalkeeper comes up with a couple of good saves. You find a way to manufacture a couple of penalty kicks. You walk away with 3 points.
It was a mature performance, I think, and it was in stark contrast to what we saw from Colorado, who really lost their heads as the game went on, but not just the ill discipline and the red card and some of the other bookings they picked up, but stupid fouls conceded inside the area. It's going to lose you games in this league, and they've lost games on the margins this year because they haven't had the maturity that Dallas showed tonight. A team that looks like they know what they're doing when they go away from home. They know how to slow the pace of the game when they're leading late. Some of those early season woes where they threw away a couple of leads, that seems to be behind them now. They look really solid and continue to be, almost unbeaten. They are unbeaten, 4-0 now when leading at half. They've converted all their halftime leads into wins. Colorado, for that point, is now 0-6 when trailing at half, so they haven't found a way to muster much in terms of a comeback this season either. But for me, a mature performance, far from a beautiful, the magnum opus of the season, but it was what they needed tonight. They gritted it out, and they were mature as opposed to Colorado, who looked immature. They looked frustrated to the point of losing control of their emotions, losing control of the game altogether down the stretch.
2 years on the road under Eric Quill. 9 wins, 6 losses, 8 draws. That's a hell of a road record.
It is, and last year Dallas ends up with 23 points on the road. It's their best ever. Well, through 13 games this year, give or take, Dallas has 12 points on the road. There's a chance that in this 7-game stretch, they could overtake their best road series and it's their best road season just before we get to about September, which would be really wild considering how good this team is. And I think, we've talked a lot about the growth of the squad from last year in Quill's first year to this year. And this really feels like a game that demonstrates it, because I don't think this is a game they win last year, quite frankly, because I think especially when you factor in there would be no Musa, there'd be no Osaze. You come in with some guys, 4 guys basically out of position to start the game. You're pulling in guys like Caleb Swan and Nick Simmons, who are not very experienced to close out the game, but they get it done anyway. And it is a testament to the maturity, but I think it's also just a testament to the growth of the team's spirit. And, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but spirit like that is how teams really get to the playoffs and go deep in the playoffs.
Absolutely. I think there's individual moments of really high-level play defensively in this game from a lot of different guys. And Ibiaga and Shaq Moore, you have to really heap praise on them in terms of defending the box, keeping Navajo quiet. I think he had 1 shot on target with 1 header where he sort of out-jumped Sam Sarver, but really pretty well shackled by Ibiaga and Shaq Moore, and that's in the absence of Urguide. We asked the question in the pregame, Urguide makes everybody around him better defensively. Can Ibiaga and Shaq step up and sort of stand on their own 2 feet and put in a strong performance tonight as 2 center backs and a back 4? They absolutely did that. The only moment where Dallas concedes, they get I think they get caught out. Maybe that's a moment of immaturity where they get caught out straight from the kickoff, and that'll be a frustrating one for Eric Quill. They threw away that early lead, but that's ultimately going to be a footnote and not one they spend too much time thinking about over the next 60 days. I think Sirois, huge save at the very end of the game. And overall, very solid. I think that was a much better performance for him, even considering he had saved the penalty in the first game. I think he just looked so much more assured and comfortable back in the starting role tonight. And, to throw his body in the way of oncoming traffic and get a big 2 fists to the ball and keep it away from a tap-in for Darren Yapi, that saved this from being a potential 2-2 final result. That was probably his best moment. I think it's an even better save than the penalty save he made last week. So Benjamin filling in left back, it was a little bit difficult for him in the first half, but I think he grew into it, and he had a couple of big moments as well. One really terrific outstretched leg to block a shot. And Johansson was pretty tight at right back as well. I don't really recall him getting beat very easily at all as long as he was out there. So really huge credit to the entire back line and Sirois behind them for defending the box extremely well. And this Colorado team is they're going through a metamorphosis with a new coach and a completely different style of play, and they haven't shown the ability to really consistently create chances against a team that sits in a low block. And once Dallas had the lead, that afforded them the opportunity to do that, and they did it really well.
Sebastian Ibeagha, who has become, I think it'd be fair to say, a part-time starter at age 34. Great game tonight. 13 defensive contributions. That's a game high for either team.
And it's worth noting, one of the things that Ibeagha does very well, he defends crosses. 19 total crosses tonight for the Rapids. If you were going to develop a game plan to bring in Ibeagha without Osaze, it would be a team that crosses a lot because that's what he does well. He did it really well. There was a couple times late where he got his head on a couple balls that was able to kind of bring it out of the 18-yard box. Just that collective defensive effort, even when it wasn't necessarily pretty, that really kind of grit that Eric Quill wants from his team.
It was rarely pretty. Nothing
about tonight was
pretty. But
pretty.
I think, your point is that when he wins the header, it gets well clear.
Yes.
And I think that, even when guys like, Shaq Moore, who's not a traditional center back, Sam Sarver at the back post, Benjamin at times, they'll get it clear, but it's really kind of bouncing on the edge of the box, and that's still in the danger area. When Ibeagha or when Nolan Norris came in, he did this as well. It's 20, 25 yards down the field, and that just gives the team a chance to catch their breath. So that's something he does really well.
And, as long as we're talking about center backs, I do think Ibeagha was the better one tonight, especially considering Shaq Moore does cough up one ball that turns into a chance that Navajo probably should have scored on. But Shaq Moore, I think I'm at the point where we all know how good Osaze Uriguide is as a defender. I think Shaq Moore right now, he'd be my choice for Defensive Player of the Year, though. And he played, this is all to say, he played, as far as I can count, a 6th different position tonight as Dallas went into that 5-man back line, and he played in the middle of it. So now he's played. I won't even go through the list. It was
all of them.
It's yes, yeah.
I think literally all of them.
That's right. Literally all positions in the back 4
and all positions in the back 5.
And all the positions in the
right
back
center
5.
Back,
I believe
central center back tonight, left center back, and both sides.
So essentially, it'd be 7.
Yeah, it's wild to think that the versatility matters so much, and his professionalism means so much. And that was something I think he and Ibeagha both added tonight. You kind of had a little bit of, especially that last about 10, 15 minutes, it was just chaos out there. There was not a lot of structure, especially on the Dallas side. Y'all both commented on it, that the guys didn't really know where to be, so they're just kind of clumping in the 18-yard box. Well, having those two veterans who have seen just about everything and done just about everything in this league, and in Shaq's case, he's been to the World Cup, for heaven's sakes. Letting them lead by example and just lead by communication is a nifty little tool that Dallas has in their pouch.
Absolutely. I don't think I can say enough about those two guys and their performance tonight. They led the way, and energy around them. I think this team was picked because Eric Quill wanted there to be energy and flexibility, versatility in the 11, but ultimately it was built on the foundation that they set.
I also think, and Steve, I'm curious, because we've talked a lot about Colorado's losing their head, for lack of a better term. We saw Wayne Frederick pick up a red card from the bench. It seemed like, especially down the stretch, a lot of the Colorado players were politicking for fouls from a referee that has been to the World Cup himself. I think Dallas deserves a lot of commendation for not doing the same thing, for recognizing, hey, let Colorado make the mistakes. We've got the lead. Let's just go about our business, and the less we disturb Ismail Elfath, the better for us.
Yeah, for sure. I think that when you have the lead, it's easier to do that. When you don't have the pressure of that Colorado had on them, Colorado trying to avoid a third consecutive home loss. You know, we've been at Toyota Stadium, you know, and sort of feeling the other side of that. I also think that FC Dallas, by virtue of coming into this game 3-2 on the road, 3 wins, 2 losses, no ties on the road, you've sort of given yourself a certain calm. And so when you get into that position, of course, you have the urgency to bring it over the finish line, but you don't have the desperation, and so you don't feel that frustration that Colorado was feeling. So they put themselves in a position to have that calm and to take a couple extra seconds. And by the way, you know, I'm the guy that I'm the nerd that counts seconds as goalkeepers really waste time. You know, when it gets into about 35 seconds, I mean, that's too much. Serwal wasn't taking that long.
No, he really
wasn't. They weren't really delaying. It wasn't that bad. I've certainly seen it a lot worse. Colorado was complaining about it, but I think that was, again, just Colorado feeling the pressure of the moment, and Dallas having earned the right just to be a little bit more calm in the moments and just to sort of, as Ryan said, sort of professionally bring that one home.
Well, how about this? MLS Communications with the tweet. After tonight's 2-1 road victory, FC Dallas has now scored a club record 30 goals through the opening 15 matches of the season, surpassing the previous mark of 28, which was also set back in 2005. We already talked about one record from 2005 that fell tonight. But make it 5 straight games going into the World Cup break with 2 or more goals, and it's come from different places. You know, early in the season it was Musa and it was Logan and it was Batman and it was Robin, and it's become. Can we go full superhero? It's become the Justice League. Everybody's scoring.
It's the Justice League.
We've got goals from Santi Moreno, Logan Farrington tonight. We had Patrickson last week. Kaike's got on the score sheet recently. I mean, it's been a collective effort in front of goal, but it's a system that's creating chances and creating chances in transition and using guys to the best of their ability. Tonight it was scrappy, and I don't think tonight is the night where you celebrate that this attack is so good because they only created 5 shots in the game, and both goals come from the penalty spot. But that's a cumulative effort over the first 15 matches. This is the best attack that Dallas has ever had statistically so far through just about half a season.
And you don't forget Sam Sarver in there, who's also
that's
got
true.
If
third leading scorer on the team.
Yeah, if the Justice League is if that's bad, he might be the Joker.
Yeah, the Joker's somehow joined the good side. I don't know.
This is the ultimate team out there. Plus 8 goal differential for Dallas too. So it's not just the offense getting it done. It's the defense, even with a goalkeeper change in the last 2 games, making it happen. And I'm thinking back to a quote that Quill said right before this road trip started. I think it was in the aftermath of the last home game, which would have been Vancouver. And they asked him about the 9-game road trip, and he said, well, hey, we love road trips because that's where we learn about the team and we see how the team performs. And through those first 2 road games here on this trip, you see last week where you beat San Jose, this week where you beat Colorado. I don't know how I forgot that. We just finished watching it. But 2 tough games, and the team comes out for it. He is really kind of spot on there. We are learning a lot about the club. Last week it was, hey, they can get the high-flying offense to get 3 goals and win. This week, you get down and dirty in a fight pit, and you come away with your first win in over a decade.
Yep, different ways to win is important, particularly on the road, and particularly against different styles of play. Colorado, a very different style of play to San Jose, who is more similar to Dallas in terms of not really caring too much about possession. Colorado does care about possession, and they press high in all of these different aspects of their game. But Dallas was adaptable to it, and they've shown that when they go on the road, they're happy to play the foil to whatever style of play the home team tries to throw at them. And today it meant absorbing a lot of pressure, and they've shown they can do that. It meant being smart and winning fouls when you can, getting the team up the field. And last week it meant going end to end and transitioning and getting Sam Sarver in behind to win the game. So different ways to win is really important, I think, especially on this long road trip.
Obviously I would argue there's not a lot to talk about from this game because it just was not picturesque in any way. But I want to take a moment here. As we said, Dallas is 4th in the Western Conference right now, sitting on 25 points. They could fall back down. Seattle plays LAFC tomorrow. If the Sounders win or draw, that will bring them ahead of Dallas back. So Dallas will be back in 5th. But I'm curious what we think if we had told you, hey, at the World Cup break, Dallas will have played 15 games, 25 points, and you'll be right around that 4th, 5th mark. I think we all would have taken that and then some, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you've got even more from a guy like Petter Musa than him stepping up his game an extra notch ahead of the World Cup. You've gotten plenty more production from Logan Farrington. You've added some more quality to the attack with some of the new guys coming into the team. I think Haike has stepped up. Nolan Norris has stepped up. Some growth from young players. So as we sort of reflect on this opening 15-game stretch before we have to sit around and watch some tournament, I don't know what something's happening this summer, something important.
We'll figure it out.
But as we sit and reflect about what this team has done through 15 games, a lot of positive signs, a lot of things pointing in the right direction. It's not the finished article just yet. I think that will have to come in 5 to 10 games into this next part of the season when we return. But they've found ways to win, and like I said, in different ways. They've gotten growth from players that you hoped would take the next step. And I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited.
It's interesting because I think the conversation now has sort of shifted and will shift as we all take the break and then we come back over really what feels like an MLS offseason, because it's about as long as an MLS offseason. What this team might now need to sort of supplement and augment itself. As they sit here 4th or 5th, I think we were all looking at this team as sort of mid-pack, get into the playoffs, but now you look at it, is this a team that can go ahead and get one of those home playoff berths?
I think it has to be the goal now.
Top 4, that's exactly right. It has to be the goal. So now you say, okay, we're not just looking to hold serve, but now what can we do to sort of push ourselves a little bit, propel ourselves a little bit further? They're ahead of teams like LAFC, and now they've got to say, okay, what do we do now to maybe join that, that Vancouver, San Jose, Seattle group that's sort of now sitting at the top of the West. And it does change the conversation a little bit, I think.
It definitely does. And by the way, as Dallas will go into the break, when they come back and play their first game after the World Cup, they're 1 point behind Real Salt Lake for 3rd place. Like, there's a very real chance Salt Lake draws 1-1 against Minnesota tonight. There's a real chance that when we finish the first match day post-World Cup, Dallas could be in 3rd place in the Western Conference in the middle of July, and that's not something I think any of us anticipated. But you're right about the conversation, Steve, because remember, the secondary transfer window opens about 9 days before Dallas resumes. And I think if they were, let's say they were down in 8th or something, that probably does change their priorities. But now that Andre Zanata and Dan Hunt and company are probably going, hey, we got a real shot at this thing. Let's try to push it over the top. Like, that's a huge vibe shift.
It is, and I think you're also going to get, we hope, fingers crossed, guys like Bernard Kamungo, Anderson Julio back. So you may be back as close to full strength as you can be when play kicks off on July 22nd. And that's not to say that they're going to, stand pat. I think they can add to this squad over the secondary transfer window, maybe bring in another piece that can elevate this team into that, final stratosphere that we're hoping that they can reach with the likes of that top 3.
Yes, and especially, obviously Will's probably spent a lot of time during this period trying to play fantasy GM and figure out what we're going to do. But I think, you have moments in this time, Steve, where, your team is only good every so often, unless you're like Inter Miami, who has Messi, you're going to be good every year. But for FC Dallas, who had a down 2024, a rebuilding 2025 that ended really well, it's just so important to capitalize on these moments, because you just never know when the season of life and the season of soccer will ever hand it to you again.
Yeah, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here. I think, as Ryan said, the goal is to, push into that top 4, get the home playoff, and then you start talking about, really doing something, making this a special season right now. I mean, look, we don't want to get too far ahead here because they found a way to win. All credit to them, but it's not like they were dominant here.
No, of course not.
They earned 2 penalty kicks, and good for them, but they didn't really. On another night, if the defending in the 18 wasn't so good, we might be talking about how Dallas couldn't really create chances to score. They couldn't really find a way to get into the final third with any consistency, even though they had ostensibly 3 creative midfielders there. So there's still work to do. But
Agreed.
But before we start, start sketching out the victory parades and things like that. So, but again, just now the goal is to hold a place and not fall back behind it. And by the way, they do still have, even though we know they're good on the road, August, September is going to be tough, because they go on this. Well, they're in the middle of this long road swing, so don't start counting those chickens too much.
Boy, I'm glad that's the one you used, because I know there was another one you were thinking about, and we'll leave that one be. And for the context,
yes, let's don't lose the job right before the big long break.
No. And for context here, when Dallas comes back, they'll go with Portland, San Diego, the Galaxy, Austin, Real Salt Lake, and Vancouver again, along with St. Louis City before they return home on the 5th against Sporting Kansas City. Which, man, Sporting Kansas City's not very good. I don't know how.
That's a long time from now. They could figure it all out. This is what happened with the Galaxy last year, where they were historically bad in the first half of the season, and Dallas got to play them the last two of the last 3 match weeks in the season. So I wouldn't count on any type of form from the first half of the season carrying over to the second half of the season. It's going to be like another season altogether. I think there's going to be a lot of roster turnover for teams coming out of the World Cup. Teams that have been more willing to fire their coaches than ever before in the first half of an MLS season because they have this break. So, it's great, and getting points on the board is super important, but I don't think you can take too much when you're looking at other teams from the first half of the season into the second half of the season until we see more when we come back.
Also, our obligatory Sam Sarver update, he did not score a goal tonight. But,
man, what happened?
Just didn't need it.
I had the champagne ready to go. I mean, we were, I was involved in the coordinated celebration. Like Sam told me, this is your role. He gave me, no, he didn't.
God, that would have been so funny if he coordinated
with
the
broadcast. It's an idea for us to maybe implement later on.
Yeah, he'd be down for it, I'm sure. But he does pick up a yellow card, and Ryan, you were wondering during the broadcast how many he's got. He does indeed have 4.
Okay.
So he does need to kind of toe the line going forward.
He was talking on the podcast about good behavior policy, and then he immediately went and got a yellow card tonight.
Well, I'm glad he's aware of it at the very least, but we may need to put a little bit more practice into that. Keep the shirt on, maybe no more scuba trips until we get that yellow card taken off for good behavior.
And by the way, Sam Sarver going to the break with 3 goals and 5 games off the bench. That ain't too bad either.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. And I think he didn't do bad defensively tonight. I mean, he came in and played wingback where he had come in to play basically second striker or winger in the last couple of games when he had scored. So different role for him tonight. A couple of important defensive contributions and helped the team get over the line. Just didn't grab all the plaudits and get everybody's attention across basically the entire world.
And in the big picture, look, your job coming off the bench is to get your team over the finish line. That's it, bottom line, whether that means an insurance goal, whether it means picking up the winning goal, or whether it means making the plays on the backside and defending. He had a little issue defending out on the island, one-on-one out in space, but I thought he was good inside the box, just like everybody else was tonight. So that's your job, your big mission in the big picture. Just help your team secure all the points, and he did that.
And I'm confident that he would much rather win than score a goal, although I'm sure he would prefer to do both.
That's exactly right.
Well, before we shut this thing down for what feels like a couple months, because it actually is a couple months, do we have any final thoughts on anything before we finish out and head into this big old World Cup break?
Good luck, Petr Musa in Croatia. Excited to see him play against England here in Dallas at AT&T Stadium. And then good luck to Dietzen in Haiti. Never wishing injuries towards anybody, but, if Herman Johansson finds his way into the squad, I definitely won't complain. Good luck to him in Sweden as well. Even if he's not in the 26, he'll be involved with them and helping prepare for the World Cup. So I think it's a historic moment for the club. We're going to find out as well in a couple of days how many former academy players will be involved with the U.S. team. We had never had more than one active FC Dallas player, and that was last World Cup with Jesus Ferreira involved in this tournament. And for 3 guys to be headed to, potentially 3 guys headed to the world's biggest stage and representing the club, just excited to watch them play and hope they get on the field and contribute.
Yeah, just to build a little bit on what Ryan just said, I think it's a really, really good moment for the club. They get to go into this big, long, unprecedented MLS break, feeling really good about themselves, doing something that they haven't done since 2005 and winning 3 straight on the road. They have 3 players, potentially 3 players who will be actively involved in the World Cup. Again, I'm just repeating, but I think it bears repeating. And then, one thing that Ryan didn't sort of just to build more, don't forget, team owner Dan Hunt said back in 2018, he made it a personal mission to help the United States succeed at a World Cup, get back to the World Cup. When we were all sort of embarrassed at U.S. Soccer that they failed to qualify for the World Cup in Russia, he said, we're going to do our part around here with the academy to make sure that we are contributing to the U.S. national team. And there's 3 players that we feel like are definitely on the team. 4 that
4. Based on the reporting, there will be 4. Zendejas is the one I think.
Oh, I forgot about Zendejas. Yeah, that's right. So there's actually a possibility that the 5th player from the academy, and then Tanner Tessman, if he can squeeze on there somehow. Either way, 4 players from the FC Dallas Academy when they're 30 teams in Major League Soccer. I mean,
30 teams in Major League Soccer, dual national guys from all over the world. I mean, that representation is a huge credit to not just, you mentioned the Hunt family, but all the people that went in and did the work, and Chris Hayden and the entire academy system to get those guys to that level. And we love watching them play. We can't wait to watch them wear the Stars and Stripes.
So a lot of work ahead, of course, but the club, everybody attached to the club should take a moment to feel really good about where things are right now.
It's not too late to call Shaq Moore. That's all I'm saying. I know there's like 900 center backs on the rumored roster, but yeah, what's one more? Especially if it's a guy like Shaq Moore. That's the only.
What's one more?
What's one more? There you go. Yeah, there's your social branding for the roster up. What's one more? Here's Shaq Moore.
Well, if you ask Pat McAfee, Sam Sarver's going. So
I'm not going to comment on that because I don't think. I'm just going to say that FC Dallas wins at Colorado tonight 2-1. First time since 2014 that they win at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. They will go into the break on 25 points, either 4th or 5th in the Western Conference. A big success for Eric Quill's men with 19 still in front of them starting on July 22nd when we will have FC Dallas versus the Portland Timbers at Providence Park. Of course, we have to start with an MLS After Dark game at 9:30 from the Emerald City. But that'll do it for tonight's post-game show. For Ryan Figert, for Steve Davis, I have been Sam Hale. You've been listening to FC Dallas Soccer, presented by Toyota on the FC Dallas Radio Network.
The preceding broadcast has been a presentation of the FC Dallas Radio Network.
You push your body hard in the name of fitness. Sure, it's for a good cause. But a good cause shouldn't mean sacrificing a good time. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Want to hear something incredible?